as he hung there on the cross, up on Calvary. Jesus cried, my God, why have you forsaken me? Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they have done. He died on the cross, God's only Son. And I got rubber bands and I stretched them over the knobs. And I remember I had a thick rubber band, and then I had a medium, and then I had a thin rubber band at the top. And I remember just sitting plucking those rubber bands for hours. Just, I could hear the boop, boop, boop.
Holy cow.
Or I could hear beep, beep, and then the boop, boop on the lower ones, you know. I played that for hours.
Really?
And then in my mind, I have this picture. I don't know where the pictures went because we had a fire, and so I do remember seeing this picture of me just really little and being able to touch the pianos. And I remember just playing the piano thinking, wow, this is a really cool sound. And I was, probably 4 or 5 then. No. I think I was like 3, because in the picture I was,
my gosh,
dinky little. I was just little.
So you grew up in Galesburg, Illinois. Sorry,
Yes.
this is such an awful pause. My bad.
No, born and raised in Galesburg at the Cottage Hospital.
Okay.
And I'm not trying to. I was born at an early age.
What does that mean?
Born as a baby.
Yeah.
So always lived in this area, the Knox County area.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you have your family and everybody around here. Mm-hmm. And I'm asking you as I'm an interviewer. Sorry. I'm your son-in-law.
Yes.
My bad. I'm your son-in-law. I know everything about you.
And where are you from? Now,
I-
are you close to? Are you close to?
Galva. The
That sounds like Gale. Everything's Gale.
our little joke, inside joke, I guess. Well, can you tell me what I could have Wikipedia'd this stuff. What is bluegrass music? That's your main genre of music that you play,
That's
right?
where my roots are, in bluegrass. Bluegrass music started way back with Bill Monroe.
Okay.
He was the father of bluegrass music.
Can I interrupt you for a second?
Yeah, sure.
There are a lot of names that you will throw at me, which I probably don't know, but they're legends we're talking about. Mm-hmm. And if I have a blank look on my face, just forgive me, please.
That's okay.
Okay.
You can talk about your Indian heritage and some of the music and some of the movies and stuff.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I'm like, same with you. But
Okay.
yeah, Bill Monroe, father of bluegrass music, he played the mandolin, and it just, everything was acoustic. Back in the day when he was young, I don't even know if they had electricity.
Bill Monroe created bluegrass music?
He is that style of bluegrass. I mean, don't quote me, but that's the only thing that I know.
Okay.
Of. Bluegrass originated from Bill Monroe.
And is he from around here?
It's from Kentucky. I can't think of that.
Oh, okay.
Kentucky.
And how did, I guess, your parents had a big influence, musically speaking, on you?
Yes. My family, on both sides of my family, there's been music. So I don't remember ever going to a family event and there not being music playing.
Yeah.
And I was telling Rajiv, I made some notes because I'm so scatterbrained. So I wanted to not leave much out, so this is just kind of my family history. Both my mom and dad, my mom had 11 brothers and sisters, and my dad had 10 brothers and sisters. And on my mom's side, my Grandpa Joe, he played the fiddle. It was so funny. I called my cousin Sue Moore, and I'm like, okay, so I have this picture, and you're going to intertwine these, but I have a picture of Grandpa Joe, and she said, I have that same picture, and do you know that's not our grandpa, it's our grandpa's brother. I've had this in a frame for a long time thinking, well,
this was your grandpa?
And it was my grandpa's brother. But anyway, so I guess my grandpa's brother played music too. And oh my goodness, we just, just look at this.
Isn't it weird that you grow up thinking the wrong person's about?
When I called her, I said, I need some background on, family history. And I said, now I have a picture of Grandpa Joe playing the fiddle.
Yeah.
And I, via the text messages and sent a picture. And she goes, I have that same picture. And she said, do you know that is not our grandpa? It's his brother.
And they were from
Are you sure? Come on. He's going to be my grandpa from now on because I've always thought it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he played the fiddle. My uncle Gilbert McNiff, was born on St. Patrick's Day. He's a true Irishman. He played...
he's a zero generation Irish person, immigrated from Ireland.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gilbert McNiff. He played the guitar and the mandolin, and my Uncle Dan, Sue was telling me that he was a master guitar player. He played...
Who's this person, Sue?
This is my mom's brother.
Okay.
This is on my mom's side. So my Uncle Jack played the guitar. And going back to my Uncle Dan, Sue said that he was a master guitar player, and he played in great bands. My mom's sister, my Aunt Jean, she played mandolin, and she was a collector of instruments. She would go to any kind of a yard sale, auction, and collect instruments. And my mom played the mandolin and the guitar. She taught me how to play some chords on the guitar, Yarma Sunshine. Either you start with Yarma Sunshine or Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. So, and my Grandpa Joe had a band called Joe's Boys. And I heard that he would not let any girls play in his band because, by gosh, it was Joe's Boys that was in the band. So my Aunt Jean didn't get to play. And my mom, she played mandolin later on in her life. But so that's, music on both sides. My dad, my Grandpa Jess, he... stories, goes back to where he even did vaudeville shows.
What's vaudeville?
And vaudeville shows is back in the day where they would, put on shows for crowds of people, kind of like fairs and festival. They would travel around and put on an entertaining show, and they called it vaudeville acts. I don't,
Okay.
Google it. I'm not really sure.
It was So that was just for entertainment, though. They would just, not like a fair where they have brides and stuff. It's vaudeville shows.
And I was trying to get some of the history on that too, and some of my cousins weren't quite sure. My aunt wasn't quite sure because her older sister was talking about that. But 10 brothers and sisters, things happened before the smaller ones came out, and I was like, okay.
And was music, like, this is something I didn't grow up with, so this is kind of curious about it. Was music all around you? Like, your relatives played music, your friends, like, whoever you knew, somebody played on a band or some instrument or something
Always.
like that? Really?
I thought it was weird if you went, to a family picnic or a reunion
and didn't have music.
And
didn't play music.
My cousin Debbie would always say, well, you'd go and you'd bring a pan of fried chicken, a casserole, and your banjo and guitars,
Yeah.
and and you ate and played music. That's what we did.
Okay.
And
And your friends.
it's what we still do.
Yeah, yeah. And when you saw your friends, they kind of lived similar lives growing up. Like they had, when they went on picnics and stuff, somebody would have a guitar or some
Right?
instrument.
Always. Always in the
Gosh.
yard. I have so many videos of, and some of these are silent black and white videos of my family in the yard just playing music.
Yeah.
But my grandma, she let's see, her dad was Albert Carpenter, and he played the violin. And Grandma said, oh, he would play pretty songs like Redbird on his violin.
Mm.
But
And so I guess another curiosity, if you'd indulge me, is that if you played music like that, like when you played an instrument and stuff, it has a soothing effect on you to some degree, right? Like personally as well as the people around you. Would you say there was a sense of like peace and like blissfulness when that kind of music was always in
oh
the
heck, I
background?
didn't know. I was a little kid. I just thought, I was running
Yeah.
around barefooted playing in the mud, and I just thought it was.
I guess in retrospect, when you look back, do you think?
Now I find it's such a part of my life. I always tell people, music is my drug. It makes me come alive.
Mm,
I mean, everybody gets seasonal depression, and when you get depressed and the winter blues and everything's brown and you don't have music in your life, it's depressing, so you
to
put on
describe.
some music and it's therapy. It's therapy now, but there's quite a few stories, quite a few layers. But, being a little kid, growing up with music, I
Yeah.
just thought that
You
was
didn't.
normal.
That was normal.
I
Yeah.
thought that's what everybody did.
Yeah, because it seems to me that this is one thing I've always wanted to talk about, but with you or Gail, for example, your husband, is that it feels like you guys grew up around like happy environments. Like, of course, there was all sorts of dysfunctions and stuff, but there was a general sense of like happiness, and then there's like a peace and calm. And sometimes I think like I've been to your parties where Debbie and you and Patty will just break into a song. It would just kind of change the mood of the whole place. And I always,
spontaneously song.
Right.
Just throws in a little.
meanwhile, I grew up around
Uplifting.
people gossiping about the next person, and that was the thing you did. You gossiped. Maybe my family. I don't want to generalize, but
Yeah. No,
yeah,
my grandma played the pump organ. And the pump organ, you have to pump it with your feet. You can't see my feet, but you have to pump it with your feet to make noise. Before they had
Yeah.
electric like you do now, you turn on the organ. Well, you had to pump it. It's kind of like the accordion. If you don't, the bellows don't go in and out. There's no sound.
right.
So when my grandma would play for, her organ for hours, her feet would get tired of pumping, so her daughters would lay on the floor
Wow.
and take turns pumping the organ for grandma so she
So
could play.
cool. Okay.
And my grandma played music like bass and chord. Yeah, this is how my grandma did. So she did the bass chord and bass chord. That's how my style that I feel comfortable with is playing like my grandma's style.
And that
And you can edit out that little ditty, that part I did, before
it's
that.
great. No.
But I was like, no, it should be bass chord and bass chord. That's the old timey, and they were probably doing vaudeville. I don't know. But yeah.
And the bass chord like combination you said, like I don't know, is that like
Bass chord.
I know. I meant like
Oh.
is
Let
that
me
a
give you a
certain
music
style of
lesson.
playing, that combination?
Yeah,
And then there's
there's so many,
okay.
classical, but I'm just the old timey.
Okay.
And it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks. I've been learning some new tricks, but
Yeah.
the barking that come along with it.
Yeah.
No one in my family has read music, but they have all played
Amazing.
multiple instruments. My aunt was telling me that they sang mostly church songs and hymns, and grandpa, now that was on my grandma's side. Now my grandpa Jess, he had several brothers. William, they called him Doc, and then there was Elmer and Woodrow, and they played the fiddle, guitar, and banjo. And then she was saying later on, Doc played the trombone, and his wife took up, what was it, a clarinet or something? But there was just always music in our family that went on for generations. And then now my family, Emily, your wife, my daughter, she plays bass, guitar, and the auto harp, and she sings, and she's sang in bands.
Yes.
My son Gabe, he's an amazing guitar player.
Yes.
You've heard him. Maybe we can throw in a clip of him or something.
Yeah.
I don't know how we can do all this. But he's amazing. He sings. And then my youngest daughter Haley plays the violin. She doesn't play the fiddle like Grandpa's music. That's fiddle music. She plays the violin. She took lessons at Knox College. She's the only one that reads music.
Oh, really?
And doesn't play by ear. But I bet if I worked with her, she could. It's just, her life was just, she left home at 17 and became a flight attendant. And I didn't have, she was busy. I didn't have time to say, oh, just play by ear, because that's what comes natural to me. I took piano lessons when I was in 5th grade. A great piano teacher, but I don't know. Later on in life, I found out that I had like this learning disability where reading comprehension and I couldn't read that and play. And she knew that I played by ear. Her name was Mrs. Sherman, great lady. And she said, oh, scoot over. And I'd scoot off the piano bench and she'd slide in and she says, it sounds like this. And then she'd just play it. And then I'd be like, oh, okay. Sounds like that. And then I'd try to and I'm like, want to throw up trying to read and play.
Wait. So when she showed you that, you could like immediately pick up like, oh.
Not immediately, but I knew the sound of it. I knew how it was supposed to, and I could pick out a few notes like, and then I just ad-libbed. And then I never practiced. She could tell that. She could tell I didn't practice till 10 minutes before she came.
Yeah.
And then I couldn't do it anymore. I was like, because I guess if maybe I was taught a different way. She didn't know. I didn't know I had a problem, but my God. I wish I would have stuck with it because I really wish I knew how to play better. I play okay. I play lots of different instruments and I play them okay. I play them to how I can play.
Yeah.
I've always had amazing musicians around and I've never really had to play anything because I'm more
just
of
kind
a
of watched
singer
and learned.
and a heart. Yeah. So this is crazy because I know one of the questions you had said to me way back when we were talking about doing this podcast, it was like, well, I'll just ask you, a few questions, how you got started playing music and stuff. So one of my first instruments
Embarrassing.
was in Geelong.
Okay.
So used to live in Geelong, and now I just live east of Geelong, so I haven't got too far from the back door. But my first instrument was, how you have a dresser drawer that has 3 drawers, and you have the knobs or the pulls or whatever. I was 4 or 5 maybe. And I got rubber bands and I stretched them over the knobs. And I remember I had a thick rubber band, and then I had a medium, and then I had a thin rubber band at the top. And I remember just sitting
Oh my
and
God.
plucking those rubber bands for hours. Just, I could hear the boop, boop, boop.
Holy
Or I could hear
cow.
beep, beep, and then the boop, boop on the lower ones, you know. I played that for hours.
Really?
And then in my mind, I have this picture. I don't know where the pictures went because we had a fire, and so
Shoot.
I do remember seeing this picture of me just really little and being able to touch the pianos. And I remember just playing the piano thinking, wow, this is a really cool sound. And I was, probably 4 or 5 then. No.
Yeah.
I think I was like 3 because in the picture I was
My gosh.
dinky little. I was just little. But
So when you say
Then,
play by ear, that's the actual idiom or phrase, right? Like that's where it came to be. Play it by ear is to say, I'm just going to sort of listen to what it is and then just kind of adapt myself along.
yeah, anyone who's learning an instrument or joining a jam session or anything, you have to just listen. You have to listen to everyone around you, not only yourself, but you just listen and enhance the other person. And then when you're doing a lead on this instrument, the other people will just back you up with the rhythm and will enhance you at times,
Right.
I'm
But
not
even
a
learning-
music connoisseur, but I'm just telling you what I know. I don't know too much.
Even learning, I feel like, I think your point applies, right? Like, you just kind of learn to kind of enjoy the music. I think we've talked about it in the
Oh,
past, where you're like, pick up on the flow of the music and then start to kind of have fun and play along or whatever it is, rather than, like, I think one of the things that really bugged me over the years was, like, when I talked to guys who would play music and stuff, my fellow Indian folks, I should say, specifically, they would say, you have to go by the rule. The note is the way you go, and then kind of follow that, and then the poetry of everything. But then when I heard what you're saying, that actually applies to a lot of aspects of my life too. When, like, before I used to be that way, where even playing basketball, I've talked about in the past, is like, I just kind of picked up watching other people, and then what felt good, and the stroke and everything.
Right.
And it kind of applies to everything, right? Cooking is the same way. Learned
Right.
it a lot.
You don't always have to make the basket. You can be the assist. You assist someone making the basket. You don't always have to be the lead singer. You
Right.
assist someone. When
Right.
Oh.
Just enjoy it.
Full circle. Yeah.
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 I didn't know what I was doing when I was like, maybe we were 6 or something. My aunt and Uncle Daryl and Aunt Mary we were in the car. I remember going to the Ozarks in this big old boat car, probably going 80 miles an hour. And my cousin David and I remember sitting in the back seat all the way to the Lake of the Ozarks. David and I sang, and I didn't know that I was singing harmony, but I knew I just loved that sound. He would say, well, I don't remember if the song was, it's a George Jones and Loretta Lynn song. And it was, well, I thought I loved another, not you. That's what David would sing. And I'd sing, how foolish, the same I thought too. Then we'd sing together, well, we both turned out to be the wrong kind. Oh, we must have been out of our mind. And that last part we sang harmony, but I didn't know it was harmony. I just knew it sounded really good, and I was like, do it again. I can't even imagine Mary and Daryl on the front seat thinking, oh my God, they're singing that song again. But they let us. We just, little kids just being just goofy.
Can you explain what the shirt you're wearing? This.
Oh, well, yes. This is my, let me 4 sisters and a cousin. It's our bowling shirt. And
Did you guys go bowling with it?
no. This is when we were in the group, 4 sisters and a cousin. I'm going to jump all around. I have it all in order of my life. Ron J, you're skipping ahead, but that's okay because you asked. I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
I'm going to talk about myself. So 4 sisters and a cousin is my cousins. They're 4 sisters, and I am their cousin. And we went to Fanfare in Nashville, and we got to talking to people, and Leann Rimes had a fan club party at a bowling alley, and her publicist seen us. I don't know. I don't really know how the story goes, but we went to Leann Rimes' fan club party, and we were dressed in our 4 sisters and a cousin bowling shirts, and we had big wigs on. I know I have pictures of that because I took pictures and videos of everything throughout my whole life. I took pictures of the kids when they were just babies to filming the clock on the wall, and then, Gabe, time to wake up. It's time for your first day of preschool. And then getting on the bus. So I have videos.
Yeah.
As you know, Emily's been going through videos, Rubbermaid buckets of VHS videos that have 6 to 8 hours on the videos. So anyway, back to the Leann Rimes. So we went to her fan club bowling party, and we just kind of worked the room, and we got these shirts and wore them at that party, and that's how my shirt.
Okay. But you guys wear them during your concerts when you guys are playing and
sometimes
stuff?
we did, yeah. We had so many different outfits that we had to name our outfits because when we traveled, it got, if we brought all our clothes to wear, all our show clothes, then we wouldn't have room for anything else. So if we were going like on a 3-day, we had 3 shows in this week, we'd be like, okay, we're going to wear bowling shirts, or we'd wear the mod squad, or we'd wear the patchwork quilt. So we'd have 3 outfits that we'd bring, and we'd leave the other 10,000 at home. But that was one of the shirts that we wore for the Leann Rimes, and then we did wear them on stage as well. So then,
yeah.
we had other merchandise too. 4 sisters and a cousin. And then everybody always wanted to know which one's the cousin.
That's cool.
I always said, and that was the thing. Everybody was like, well, which one's the cousin?
Yeah.
But then you would have artistic people, and they'd say, which ones are the sisters? We're like, oh, we love that question. So it was like, I don't know.
Yeah, how'd you guys form the band? Like, can you talk about your band?
Well, can I start from
Yeah, let's start from the very
before that, because
yeah, I know you've been part of many bands. Yeah.
It's just we first started singing with. First started singing with my cousins. Debbie was 9, Patty was 10, I was 15, I believe, and Susie was 16. And a friend of theirs in Mount Sterling, Ronnie McCaskill, had hired us to do a little program at a restaurant where they were having some type, probably a beef producers meeting or something, and he had us perform. And there is a little video clip that we have found. I'll have Rajiv insert this, and it was. I remember that was the first time we played anywhere at that era, you know,
Yeah.
and we're trying to do a pyramid in the living room. But then my mom and dad, back when I say my family has always been in music, it always hasn't been bluegrass. It was more country, old country, like, you know, me singing the George Jones and Melvin Montgomery songs. So my dad was introduced to bluegrass probably in the late 60s. And he started going to bluegrass festivals, him and Mom. And I was probably 15, 16, and he was very strict. He would not let me stay home by myself. I think I was sophomore in high school, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And he would not have it. He told me I wasn't going to date until I was 18 years old. And he wouldn't let me go down to Brown County, and me and my cousin Kathleen would drive around.
Yeah.
You know, drive around with boys in the car. Oh boy. But,
Do you remember the first time you played in front of an audience?
Gosh. Well, probably it was at that restaurant there that Ronnie McCaskill. I mean, that was people looking at you, you know. So that was
Right.
actually probably the first time. But Mom and Dad started going to bluegrass festivals, and I absolutely hated it.
Really?
I hated it because I didn't want to go, and they made me. I wanted to stay home. I didn't like that kind of music, and I was with my mom and dad, and it was no fun. And that was probably in 1969. I remember my brother was a senior in high school, and I was awful.
So you didn't like, it's
No.
because you didn't like bluegrass music that,
No,
Yeah.
I didn't like it at all because my mom and dad liked it. You know,
yeah.
you don't like things your parents like at that age. It's
Yeah.
like you just want to rebel, and so. But then they would have jam sessions at their house, country bluegrass jam sessions, and I met some people, of the girl named Sharon Dennis from Abingdon, and in Abingdon they were putting on a country Opry, and
That's a country opera.
a country Opry. It was where they sell tickets and people come and you sit in the audience, and boy, it's a country show, but
Yeah.
they called it an Opry. So, you know, Sharon Dennis's mom made her these beautiful, look like Little House on the Prairie dresses, just beautiful long dresses. This is probably 1970. And I was so jealous of her pretty dresses. And she sang beautiful. I sang harmony with her, and Jerry Hollingsworth played with us at that time, Tommy Ronk, Don Wilson, and Bobby Condrey, and I just sang.
And I'm guessing these names you're mentioning are all like established,
They're all famous musicians.
musicians.
Just good friends, but they were amazing musicians. Because, like I said,
Sure.
I really have never played a lead instrument that well because I've always had good musicians around me. So
Yeah. No, don't get me wrong, please. I didn't mean to say, you know, if they're famous or something, you know, for whatever reason. I meant to say like to build on your point really quick is that there's such a wealth of like musicians around here. It's mind blowing to me. Like you just go to the Peoria Public Library, there's an amazing musician. Go to Canton, Illinois, and then there's just amazing bands playing that afternoon or something, right? It's just,
There's
it's embarrassingly
amazing
good.
musicians around here.
Yeah.
I'm blown away by the talent.
And
Yeah,
you're also
it's-
constantly playing and keeping your craft sharp and all the time. And
Yeah, try, you know. Come like my Aunt Jean, find instruments, and I'm like, I've got to have that instrument.
Yeah.
I don't know how to play it, but whatever, you know. So anyway, I hated going to festivals. Hated it. So I was like, well, I'm going to ask my cousins to go with me because they're fun. And they were little, and we just went.
Yeah.
We went to so many festivals: Missouri, Iowa, Indiana, just the tri-state area, and we started just, you know, we were just little kids playing in the Current River. I remember playing with other family bands, you know, little kids just playing, and we started singing around campfires, and then we were getting noticed. People started gathering around the campfire, and they're like, you guys sound good. You guys want to play at the next festival? And so we're like, money? We're going to get money for singing? So we started going to festivals, and my dad bought this big, huge 32-foot mobile home with Winnebago-like type thing. Oh my gosh, I remember the carpet was orange shag, and the couch that pulled out into a bed was orange shag. It had orange curtains. In the back was this huge, the full back was nothing but a bed. It could fold up into a table with benches all around it, but oh, it was just so 70s, and the whole back window, man, that was the window to the world, and we could pull the curtains so Mom and Dad couldn't see us. We'd be going down the interstate, and of course, you know, we'd kind of forget Dad had a CB radio back in the days where it was CB radios, and so us girls, Susie, Patty, Debbie, Melissa was pretty young. I don't know if she was in on that. We'd moon the truckers.
Yeah.
We'd be up in that back window, just, and then Dad, you know, he was like, he knew what we was doing because he's on the CB radio. Yeah. And of course, on the back of our camper, well, there's a picture of it here somewhere. We'll insert those. But on the back, it says, the Bluegrass related. You know, and they'd be like, yeah, Breaker, one line, the Bluegrass related, their camper's got 5 butts in the window, you know, mooning us. So my dad just, he just laughed.
Yeah.
We were just kids, just being stupid. But
And he didn't get mad at you for doing that.
no,
Yeah.
he probably did it himself back in the day.
By the way, for those who don't know what mooning is, it's an American act where you show your butt. Is it?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Yep. Some of the butts were much smaller back then. But yeah, it was just good times. And then my dad decided he would have his own bluegrass festival. So he rented out the Knox County Fairgrounds and had a bluegrass festival on Memorial Day weekend. Well, in the beginning, he had bands like the Bluegrass Alliance. Tony Rice was there playing with that band. And I'm sure you don't know Tony Rice, but amazing guitar player, singer. Ebo Walker. I didn't make notes of names because the older you get, the more forgetful you are. But these bands were amazing. He had local bands, but then he had pretty good, well-known bands. And they would come to the house. Sam Bush, he came with Tony Rice to our parents' house and had, of course, my mom always had food and homemade pies, berries. She picked off, the blackberry bush, and she'd homemade pies and food, good food, and lots of it. Always welcomed musicians in. So they came to the house, we fed them, and they had a jam session in our living room. And I remember my dad saying, why they're playing that long-haired hippie music. Because I remember Sandbush and Tony Rice were sitting on the floor. And now this is back in the 70s. They're sitting on the floor just really into like progressive music. And my dad was traditional bluegrass.
Okay.
He liked the standard Jimmy Martin.
Okay.
And nothing wrong with that. But we formed our group that, from playing around the campfires, as we formed our group, like I say, I wasn't into bluegrass. So we did songs that were acoustic, but we did them bluegrass style. Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy. That's not.
What's
bluegrass.
acoustic?
Acoustic is no electric,
Okay.
no piano, no electric bass, no. Everything's just acoustic.
Natural.
Stand-up bass,
Okay.
mandolin, guitar, fiddle, banjo, dobro.
Is it okay if I interject with questions?
Yes.
Okay.
Please do.
Okay. Just making sure it's okay.
Oh, so
You can
there's
tell
no
me to
question?
shut up.
That was the question. Okay. I was gonna say. I might get off track. Oh God, it's not in my notes. So okay, where are we at? So he decided he would have a bluegrass festival, and he did at the Knox County Fairgrounds.
Can I interject one more question?
God, Ron's probably gonna roll. No.
I'm really curious about this stuff. Like, what
Yeah.
made him? There were so many people around playing music at the time. What made him special? Like, or rather, what inspired him to start the?
He always said, for the betterment of the community, I want to bring some bluegrass music here to the state of Illinois.
Wow.
He was the first person who had a bluegrass festival in the state of Illinois. Now, there was a family in Aledo called the Bluegrass Redheads, and they had the longest running bluegrass festival in the state of Illinois. But my dad was the first one. He just wanted to have a party.
Yeah.
He just wanted to bring in musicians and let people know that this is the music that is all about him.
Yeah.
So, and then I think he had the festival there maybe 3 years or so. And, oh gosh, some of the prices to get in, I think it was like $2 a person on Friday night. So the fairground board wanted, at the end of Sunday after the festival was over with, everybody had to leave. And Dad was like, well, why can't they just hang out, So he bought land in Gilson. Well, that's where he was living, in Gilson. And he bought land across from his house. And it was just nothing but, it was a thicket. And he cleared it off and it made it look like a park. He built a stage and had showers, flush toilets, running water, had a concession stand. The Orange Chapel Church had some of the best food and pies. And he had, it was every Memorial Day weekend, and he had that. And he said, you people come, and if you want to come a week early and you want to stay a week later, come and stay and enjoy. He was very strict about the way he ran things. He had the Knox County sheriffs on posse, on horseback. We had their Knox County sheriff's posse. And there was no drugs, no alcohol, and there was no problems. You ask anyone who remembers going to the festival, and so many people came from so many states far away. There was people from California,
Wow.
Florida, Colorado, and then for the Saturday night show, local people came. So we had but it was full of campers. People would come, the camper doors would fly open, kids would run out, and they would be gone. They would play. It wasn't like they had to be worried where your kid was, if they were going to be, abducted or something. It just it didn't happen back then. In those days, in the good old days, but he had that festival, and he absolutely loved it, and everyone said it was the best festival they'd been to, and lots of memories. My kids smell a campfire, and they're like, this is just Mom and Dad's festival. Or Grandma and Grandpa's.
Yeah.
But, so my dad would have, on Friday nights, a lot of the bands were coming from Missouri and Iowa, and they couldn't get off work and get there in time for the show. So he would have fiddle contest on a Friday night. And fiddle contests can get a little, boring. One fiddle after another. And so one year, this was several years after they'd had it, and I had been hired to do a singing telegram. And I love to go to, kind of like my Aunt Jean, loved to go to yard sales and thrift stores, and anything odd, I will buy it because I'm like, oh my God, this would be great for a telegram outfitter. So I had a sack full of dress-up clothes. And so we're at Mom and Dad's house, and the festival's getting underway. And I was like, oh my gosh, you guys, look. I opened my sack, and I was like, I did a singing telegram, and look at this. And I started pulling out all these clothes, and everybody started trying them on. And it just kind of happened. We started getting names for each other. Well, I did a telegram, and I put on a nerd outfit, and my name was The Wayne. And so everybody started putting on different outfits, and I was like, oh, Debbie, look, you could be The White, and I could be The Wayne. And then it just went to the Duhwitts. So it was Dwayne DeWitt, Dwight DeWitt, we had a Dottie DeWitt, we had a Dorcas DeWitt, and then we had a half-wit brother, Earl. So that's our little DeWitt band, how that got started at Mom and Dad's fiddle contest. So while the judges were tallying up the votes, we decided, and it was back when we had record players, so I had this old record of some fiddle song. It was just hokey, and I was like, let's have the sound guy play this fiddle song and another fiddle song, just what they want to hear. And we dressed up and came out and entertained.
Had a dream about you, baby. Had a dream about me and you. Had a dream that the world got random. Had a camper, I drive, but it just can't stop. And time's dragging by too tight. Oh, my heart, it just can't love no one but you. Oh, my heart, it just can't love no one but you. Yeah, thank you very much. Did we wake you up? Yes. Well, I might as well tell you who we all are now that we're all up here together. Oh, you already met Dwayne and Dwight. This is Dwayne and Dwight DeWitt. This is our younger sister, Dottie DeWitt. And I'm Dorcas DeWitt. And this is our friend, Whoopi John. We are all DeWitts. Dorcas, Dwayne, Dwight, Dottie, and this is our half-wit brother, Earl. And you, he's been with the chickens. What? Oh, chicken, eh? And we're what you call the bluegrass-related nerds.
You folks need to talk to 1-800-888 nerd.
Don't try this at home. We're professionals, folks. We hold our religion close to our heart. So we're going to do this song. Swing dance with your stop. Minus the banjo and a dobro and a mandolin.
We don't need them. We left so good, it's going to sound just perfect.
Swing down, sweet cherry southland, let me ride. Swing down, sweet cherry southland, let me ride. Rock me low, heart so easy. I've got a home on the other side.
Well, I looked over Jordan and what did I see?
Coming for to carry me home.
A band of...
While they were tallying up the votes and just Milli Vanilli doing, fiddle songs and stuff. There's a video clip of that. We'll insert that. But the Duhwitts came out of that. And we had formed the bluegrass group because we really didn't do traditional bluegrass songs. So we were called the Bluegrass Related because it was related to bluegrass. But we were also a family related, bluegrass related. And back in the day, I think, I don't know what year it was. Does it say on here? I don't know. We made an album. Oh boy, look at that. I don't know if you even have to put that in. I think I just talked about that. Turn it a little bit, get the light. Oh my goodness. So it's my cousin Susie and Brent Kinzer played the banjo. We met him at the festival in Knoxville. I think he was 12. And he played the banjo amazing. And we're like, you want to be in our group called the Bluegrass Related? We all sound like chipmunks. And so he was part of the Bluegrass Related. My cousin Debbie, myself, my cousin Patty, and my dad. And there's that camper with
How many songs were on that?
the Bluegrass Related, and that's a famous back window. How many songs? 6. No, 12. 6 and 6. And funny story. I lived under a bluegrass rock. I am the world's worst at music trivia. I have my nephew Josh will attest to this because he does music trivia. J&J music trivia. I was the loser the whole night. I got a box of rocks. I was dumb as a box of rocks. I don't know. I lived under a bluegrass rock. I was pigeonholed. I didn't know until, this is kind of jumping ahead too, at an open mic that I go to, somebody said, anybody know any Grateful Dead? And I was like, I don't know any Grateful Dead. Yeah. And the guy I was with started singing Friend of a Devil. And I looked at him, I was like, that's a Grateful Dead song? No, it's a Seldom Seen song. Because I heard a bluegrass group called the Seldom Seen do Friend of a Devil. I didn't even know it was a, Grateful Dead song. That's rock and roll, I thought. So we have Friend of a Devil on this album. Now, isn't that crazy that I didn't even know? I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know.
So are they all original songs on that?
No, they're not original. Not a one of them. Nope.
Okay. So,
Nope.
but you guys took popular songs and then just made it your own tracks.
Hills of Old Kentucky, Small Exception to Me, Breaking It Down, Shake Hands with Mother Friend of a Devil. That's on side 1. Side 2, Great Balls of Fire, Panhandle Country, Bluegrass Melodies, Joshua, Coming Home But I Don't Know When, and Summertime. The guy here on the back, Tim Crouch, down here at the bottom, Jeff Scott at the top. And then we also had my dad's friend, Jimmy Martin. He came in and sang bass on, I think, Coming Back, but I don't know when, and maybe a couple of other songs. But when we were doing Great Balls of Fire, we did it once, and it started out, pretty up to tempo, and we kind of slowed down a little bit, which, happens, especially now, older I get, things really slow down. So I remember Jimmy Martin, and he's a big, big wig in the bluegrass field. But he coon hunt with my dad, so he was on the album. I remember he was in the back of the soundproof booth, and he was jumping like, keep it going. And we just kept looking at him and thinking, okay, Great Balls of Fire. And we did it. You can insert this one too. There's a picture of him with, oh my gosh, Jimmy Martin.
So Jimmy Martin was a very famous musician.
He was a very famous, yeah.
And then he played with your dad.
He was called the King of Bluegrass. Wow. Bill Monroe was the father of bluegrass.
Okay.
Jimmy Martin was the King of Bluegrass.
Okay.
And my cousin Debbie had to share a mic with him, and he loved onions. He loved an onion. He'd just peel an onion and eat it like an apple. And sing with Debbie on the mic. So, yeah. Oh my gosh. Like I say, I've got so many pictures of us. Holy cow.
And was it common to make an album, or was it very hard to make an album back in the day?
A lot of the bluegrass people had albums that
Okay.
they had made. Yeah, so the bluegrass related consisted of our musicians was Brent Kinzer, Jeff Scott, his cousin Doug Scott would play with us sometimes, Mike Harmon, Don Brown Jr. played banjo with us at sometimes when, we needed somebody to fill in. Like I said, that everybody around us was amazing musicians.
Yeah.
We just sang. Not just sang, everyone really loved our harmony, which in Debbie's voice, somebody said to her one time, well, you sound just like Wynonna Judd. She says, no, Wynonna Judd sounds like me, because I've been singing a lot longer than she has. So, from, being the bluegrass related, and then the Duhwitts, I did singing telegrams for years.
What's a singing telegram?
A singing telegram, random people would call and they would say, my dad's having a birthday, and could you do a telegram? And I would dress up in a outfit and surprise him where, usually they'd have like a party, Happy Joe's Pizza Place or something, and I would sneak in there and then just be as loud and obnoxious as I could, which is really hard for me to do. And then I would do this little ditty, little song, and then...
Which you composed and wrote?
They would give me information on, the person, and then I would make a little song, and then at the end sing Happy Birthday. Oh my gosh. Kids were little when I was doing this, and I kind of feel like Mom and Dad, if I had to go and do a singing telegram, well, by God, they were too little to stay home by themselves, so I made them go with me. Sometimes, most of the time, I had them dress up. I did one for a principal. Emily was the old lady school teacher, and Gabe was the principal with his paddleboard, back then. Wallop you with a paddle. So, did those telegrams, and...
How'd you come up with was singing telegrams a common thing that happens in the Midwest?
No.
No?
No, I have kind of... I don't think I've ever seen one. I've had one from my cousin's husband. He surprised me with a telegram on my birthday, and so I've received one, and it was really special. It was really nice. So I've done those for people. I've done a lot. There was one guy who was 98 years old, and I'm like, well, give me some information on, him. Oh my goodness. So I would memorize the songs, but for this guy, I just,
Yeah.
I had the kids hold up a piece of paper because, there was important things in his life that they wanted, sung. So I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. And then I got to the point where I was like, oh my gosh, I have to do another singing telegram. And it was getting to the part of my life where I was like, I don't want to do any more of these telegrams. And so I would have a format song, and I'd just fill in the person's name, Sorry for those of you who hired me. But I'd be on my way to a singing telegram thinking, okay, what's this guy's name? Then I'd be sad but true. And then I'd be like, okay, it's Ralph or whatever. And then...
Would those people really be like surprised and shocked?
They were so surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that was the whole point
you're
of
going to
it.
interject some of the picture. My pregnant bride was one of the most popular, and it was the easiest. But I've done a Chiquita Banana. Oh my gosh! Oh,
Why was it the easiest?
Speaking of taking, because of the outfit and the song, it was just easy. It was
Yeah.
for a guy, that way you wouldn't have to be so. I don't know. It was just easy.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's taking the kids with. You can't see it. Raji will enter.
Yeah.
Yeah, here's my pregnant bride. Oh, I've got tons of pictures. But I did a telegram one time for a pharmacist and his staff. And then I went into, I think it was a local restaurant here in town. And the girl that hired me there, I was like, oh, hi, how you doing, and blah, blah, blah. And she said to her coworkers there, she said, this is the girl that did the singing telegram. They were like, no way. And I was like, me? That's me. So I was very unrecognizable. And so when you put on an outfit and you sing a song, you transform into someone else.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I did. It was like an out-of-body experience.
And that involved acting, and you were not formally trained to act, and you nailed it.
Oh, no, I've never been formally trained in anything. But anyway, yeah. So I have a plethora of stuff here that, when you put on glasses or a wig or whatever, you transform into whatever. Isn't it great? This is where I'm more comfortable doing this podcast because I don't have to be me. So, but I loved Halloween. I loved dressing up. I loved just being goofy. So when I was asked to do singing telegrams, I thought, you're going to get paid for that? So I did that for quite a few years, and sometimes people will see me and they're like, oh, you did a singing telegram for me? And I'm like, then I'm like, I forget.
Right.
Say that, but...
You were never shy, like to get on stage and stuff?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And so you were doing the singing telegrams in front of strangers.
Yeah. That's the best way to do it. They don't know who you are.
Okay.
At that point, you don't know who you are either. and then you just go for it, and then you're kind of on this high, like, God, I got paid for that. It was only 2 minutes. I got to show you this one. This was a great one because I would go. Yeah, see if I can find it, and you'll insert it here.
Sure.
This one, my cousin helped me get prepared all for this one. Oh my goodness! Hope you can see that. I'm the one in the middle, the Chiquita Banana. I'm a Chiquita Banana, and I'm here to say bananas have to ripen in a certain way. Anyway, I live in the country. So when you live in the country and you go to town, you have to get stuff at the store. And you're not going to go home, change or whatever, and then come back. So I'd be like, I've got to go to the grocery store. So I have been to the grocery store as the Chiquita Banana with that fruit basket on my head, you know, walking around the grocery store, just not really knowing that. Well, I knew I was dressed up, but I was just kind of in my zone. Okay, now I've done my telegram. I'm looking for, you know, eggs, bread, milk, whatever. And I'd just be shopping. And then I'd be like, ooh, that's why people are looking at me. And then I've had people say, are you from another country? I'm from another world. Anyway, good Lord. So, singing telegrams, and I've sang with all kinds of different... do you need to ask me questions, Rajiv? I'm just going off.
No,
Here,
please.
just you rattling.
I hope I'm not interjecting. I'm always like self-conscious about it.
No, God, no. I was just
Oh
thinking,
God, like
how much do you want me to talk about myself?
please talk as long as you ever wish about anything. I'm just
Well, let me
mesmerized. I love it.
I was counting up the different bands I've been in. And with my telegrams and me doing solos, I think there's 20
Wow.
different bands. So one of the bands I was in was the North State Travelers. Yeah, got a picture of that. Oh boy. I have to come back to my family picture after this because I happened to think of it with my. So here is the North State Travelers, and Rajiv will put that in too. But that is Don Wilson on the Doghouse bass. He's the guy that taught me how to play the bass years ago. And Dick Bruning, Tommy Ronk, my dad, Mike Terry, and Jerry Hollingsworth were called the North State Travelers. You know,
How long did it take you to learn the
bass?
The bass, yeah.
Well, what Don did, he made a paper chart that slid under the strings, and he had all the notes, you know, where to put your fingers. Well, when you'd play it, kind of, bzz, you know, a little bit. So I took that out. I wish I'd have kept it. I've kept everything else, but I don't know. I think from playing my rubber bands, that was my first band I was in, my rubber band.
Yeah.
That it came easy to me because I think the bass is easy.
Okay.
You know, and right now it's not with my arthritic fingers, but with my hands, they cramp up. But I don't know. I haven't mastered any of my instruments. I just play with them, and I don't
That
know
sounds
how
amazing,
long it took
yeah.
me. I'm still learning, really.
Yeah.
Now, as you can see back in the corner, can you see that on the? Yeah, there's a bass
you
back in
can.
the corner. And then, kind of jumping around here too, but my friend Jera bought me this ukulele bass. So compared to the bass in the corner and this is scrunched together and it has frets, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is where I need to be. But
What's frets?
these are the frets.
Okay.
Go those lines there.
Okay.
So it's really different. I love playing this. It's much easier to take around with you, but it's also tricky because I'm used to sliding around and going with the feel, because you see this bass doesn't have frets, doesn't have those lines.
Oh.
So, and it's all by a tone and a feel. But anyway, then I played with a group called Cottonwood South with my good friend Susan and Max Whitcomb, and there were several we called ourselves, well, now we call ourselves the Mullet Band, but we didn't know that, we actually all had mullets, but we did. Oh, and I've been asking people if they have any pictures of Cottonwood South. The only ones that I have was when I dressed up as Betty Lou. Because, I dressed up then playing with Cottonwood South. There was a song called Betty Lou's Getting Out Tonight.
Betty Lou's the cartoon character?
No, I don't know who. Just song about Betty Lou.
Okay.
And I thought, well, I've got this outfit. I'll dress up like Betty Lou and come out and sing. I don't know why, but I did.
Okay.
That's the only one I have of that. But Susan and Max, and then there was Mike Terry. He played with us. Rick Carroll and Chuck Hoots played guitar. Sometimes Kevin Fike would play when Mike Pierman wasn't playing the bass, but Mike Pierman played. We had great times. We played country music with Cottonwood South. It was a country band. And so much fun. Then the Hawcreek Hayseeds, I've played with them, which was Ted Coombs. He played the washtub bass. Tammy Lufkin played the banjo, and Darren Whitsett played the guitar. And sometimes Dad would, when we played at the Scenic Drive, they had this. Tammy, I don't know who built this with Tammy. Maybe his sons. His son Caleb played the banjo, an amazing banjo player. The first time I seen this moving, motorized stage was at Walnut Grove Farm at the Scenic Drive, and I heard this banjo coming, and I thought, where's that music coming from? And here come this big old pickup truck, and they built this old-timey, it looked like a back porch. I mean, it was decorated. They even had their lab dog on this portable moving stage, and it was fantastic. They played acoustic music, of course, and it was Haley and I played with them a little bit.
Oh, really? So she played.
She did. Yeah. And
Public.
that was, I guess, that was more her playing by ear,
Yeah.
because I would just be like, it's an A, just A, and then the A, D, E, and G. So she, oh my gosh, she might have been 11. She really didn't want to do it, but thank good I made her. And she had so much fun. I had so much fun. I got pictures to prove it, but so the Hawcreek Casey's, they were great. They were
You talked about a country band. I was going to ask you, for the benefit of those who don't know what country music is, could you describe what it is and how it is different from bluegrass country?
Country's electric, and they have like steel guitar, electric bass, drums, totally different type of songs other than bluegrass. Bluegrass is more old-timey.
Okay.
And country, well, I played old country back in the day. Back in the heyday, Hawcreek Hayseed heyday, but I like all kinds of music. I'm the girl I'm playing with now. Sometimes when she's like, "Do you know this song?" and I don't know if it's the name of the song or the name of the artist. That's how bad I am. So I'm learning a lot of new songs, and I love it. She's fantastic.
Any particular genre you're trying to get into these days?
No, I'm just trying to keep up. Just keep up,
Okay.
and whatever I always say, whatever floats your boat. But whatever, I listen to Pandora a lot, different stations, and if I like a song, I'll put a thumbs up, and then I'll find that song on Spotify and put that on a list of bluegrass songs to learn, wedding songs, funeral songs, Christmas songs, treadmill songs, songs for Jera and I to learn, and I just have this whole library of a mixed bag of.
And then you'll pick something and like, I want to play this in public, or just learn it for the sake of
hey,
it.
listen to this song. It's what do you think about doing
Yeah.
this? And what I do mostly around my house is I have all my instruments at easy hands reach.
Yeah.
And if I'm playing Pandora, I'll be like, oh, that sounds like that'd be a good one for the mandolin. And I'll just pick it up and I'm thinking, oh, if it's in the key of D, which is great, easy key to play in, I will play along with that. And I was like, oh, that's okay. Then I'll put it in my file on Spotify, or I'll hear another song and I'm thinking, oh my God, that would be fun to play. So I'm kind of like a, what my friends say, kind of like a fart in a skillet. Kind of just jump around from subject to subject, instrument to instrument. And if I would really focus on something and learn it, I might be better than I am, but who has time for that? I just want to do this and do that and get along with life. You know?
How did you get into these bands? Is it just like word of mouth? Like such and such would say, hey, she's really good, you got to get her on your band, or did it just happenstance everything?
Yeah, I don't remember. Well, of course, with the, what would I say, the North State Travelers here, you know, of course, this was my dad and my friend Dawn, and I'd played in a band with Mike before. Word of mouth and just going out and hearing bands, and I don't know. I just meet people. I guess people come into your path. If you put it out, the law of attraction, if you put it out, it's going to come back to you. It just, I don't know. It comes to me. People come to me. I love it. Okay, so here's for one instance. At Mom and Dad's festival, we're having a jam session. I remember it was up by the shelter house where the Orange Chapel was serving their delicious food, and my cousin Patty was there and her friend Sally, and we were in a jam session, and Chris Vallillo was there also, and I was playing the bass, and he was like, in singing, and he was like, I have a radio show. It's called Rural Route 3. It's a celebration of rural America. And it's a live radio show in Macomb, Illinois. And he said, would you want to come and play on my show sometime? And I was like, sure.
Wow.
So I played a few shows with him, and a Tim Runyon played the fiddle. I think Tim played mandolin too, but I have a picture of him with him playing the fiddle. So we were the house band. We'd do a couple songs, and they had a live studio audience. It was kind of like a setup like this.
Yeah.
A few chairs, wasn't a lot, but a few chairs. It was very quiet, and it was like, bam, here we go. We're live on the air. And we would do 3 songs, and then they would have special guests come in. And I tell you what, I wrote down some of the people that were on that program because, and then where did I put it? Oh, because I knew some of these guest stars, and I'm like, these are some famous people that he had come in. He had Norman and Nancy Blake, Allison Krauss, the Austin Lounge Lizards were guests, John Hartford, Gillian Welch. Oh my God. So that was just, I got into that part of my music life from my mom and dad's festival, meeting Chris through, you know.
And you would meet all these very famous artists while you were there doing the jingles and all that stuff.
Yeah, and they would put on a program, maybe half an hour show or something like that.
Yeah.
But Chris has a Chris Vallillo. You can look him up on YouTube. I don't know. Can we maybe at the end of this put people's YouTube
Sure.
addresses
Oh,
and things
absolutely.
for people?
Everything.
Because Chris has he does restoring of vintage instruments. It's called Orpheum Instruments, and he also hosts an Opry, and it's called the Hickory Ridge Concerts, and that's in Ellisville, Illinois, and it's at this quaint little town with this old Opry house, and it's upstairs. The floors and the chairs are the original back in the day when they would put on big shows, probably maybe vaudeville, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But he holds, I think it's once a month. I'm not sure. But if you go to his website, he would be able to tell you. But that's how I met him. So meeting people just by word of mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And then my friend, my best friend, Kathy Derry, and her niece, Monica Peck, we had a gospel trio called Firm Foundation. And we played at, I don't know, probably picnics and meetings. We played at church. We played at Mom and Dad's festival. And we were on a, oh my gosh, a cable TV, a local cable TV. Just look back at I have pictures of that. That'll be on here too.
Yeah,
But we also played with the North State Travelers. They were our backup band at Mom and Dad's festival, and have some great bean footage of that as well on video. And those are just some fun times. And then I have, oh boy, then my girlfriend Susan and my cousin Susie and my niece Valerie, we formed a group called RSVP.
Mm-hmm.
And that name came about by Susan's dad was Bill Reeves. He owned the old music shop there in Galesburg, old music store, and years ago, and his last name was Reeves. So how that name of the band came, Reeves, we're using our maiden names. My maiden name was Smith, so R. Reeves, S. Smith.
Mm-hmm.
Valerie was single, so we just kept hers V. And then Susie Parker Campbell, we used her maiden name for P. So that's how we got the RSVP.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't play too much, but we sure had fun. We played at the Railroad Days, and we played some wineries and Buddy's Pizza and stuff like that. But, then oh my gosh, another band that was so much fun. A girl I was in high school with. Her and her husband. Oh my goodness, my back's getting stiff. Bonnie and Gary. And I don't know if I'm going to pronounce their name right. Jackal? Bonnie and Gary. And Steve Hatfield played the banjo. Bonnie's brother played the guitar. Bonnie played the bass, and I tried playing the accordion. And talk about fun, playing with your high school friend. And then Steve Hatfield had been going to Mom and Dad's festival for years. He's another amazing musician. Bonnie's husband played the accordion. He was fantastic. So we played churches, we played parks and picnics and anywhere that we could. And then I play solo at nursing homes. when I was talking to my daughter Emily, I'm like, okay, I'm trying to count up all the bands that I've played in. And she goes, have you put down Not Quite There? And I'm like, forgot about them. So, and that was a band that I was in with Emily and my cousin Susie and her son Christopher. And we'd have practices. And, well, how that band formed. My cousin Debbie was like, "Hey, I'm on the committee for the 4th of July celebration here in Mount Sterling at the lake, and I think you guys could form a band, and I think you could play there. What do you think?" And I'm like, "Oh, that sounds fun." So we got together and we're trying to figure out a set list and songs, and
Yeah.
we're trying to do a little bit of lead stuff, and I was like, "Oops, no, it wasn't quite there, but hey, that's all right. We'll get it next time." Whoop, that wasn't quite there. So we're like, "What are we gonna name our band?" So we're like, "Not quite there." Oh my God. So we had our picture taken and put on a flyer, and it was at the local gas station, and this couple came down while we were performing. They came down to the stage. Oh, it was hot. Oh, they say hotter than the 4th of July. Oh, it was hot. Oh, it was so hot. Well, they came down right in front of the stage. He had his shirt off, and she just had a little crop top on, little short pants, and they were dancing and having a ball. And they're like, "We just stopped at the gas station and seen where you had your flyer, and we thought, that band, not quite there. Let's go check them out. They sound fun." And they had a ball. And that was our first and only time we played together.
Oh, okay.
But I got a picture of that. You'll have to intertwine
Did
that.
you guys ever fight or not get along or anything? Or it was just fun?
It was just flat out fun.
Yeah.
No flat out fist fighting or nothing. And that's when we sang as Four Sisters and a Cousin. That's what people would ask. Four sisters and a cousin. Who's the cousin? And then it was, do you fight?
Yeah.
That was the 3 questions. Because 5 girls in a band, I mean, you'd think the hair'd be a-flying, but
Yeah.
oh my God, we had so much fun. We
Was
we
it?
didn't fight. We
Yeah.
laughed. We go on vacation together still to this day.
Yeah.
And it was a ball. It was the best time of my life, of the bluegrass related and the Four Sisters and a Cousin. And that is what had evolved from that band, Four Sisters and a Cousin. My cousin Patty and Susie went to Nashville they joined a songwriters organization, and they were having a seminar in Nashville. Well, me and Debbie and Melissa were like, "They're going to Nashville?" And they're like, "Yeah, you guys want to come? We're paying for the hotel room." We're like, "We'll squeeze in the hotel room, get a pull-out couch or a blow-up bed, because we've done it all our lives." So we went to Nashville. While they were at the seminar, me and Debbie and Melissa, we're just driving around Nashville, and Melissa had said, she'd sang with the Bluegrass related. She was younger. When she was born, Susie was 17, so she sang with us, but she was like, I really want to learn to sing harmony. So we're riding around Nashville just singing like we always do. Wherever we go, we got to sing. And she was trying to learn harmony, and it just came natural to her, but she had never had to. There was always other singers, and she would be singing lead, and she's like, "I want to sing harmony." So we stopped at the Ernest Tubbs record shop, and we're in there just looking through old albums, and they were playing music overhead, playing some bluegrass songs, and we're just singing along with the album, or singing along with the overhead music, looking at albums. And the owner of the store is like, are you guys a musical group?" We're like, "Well, no, we used to play bluegrass years ago, but we hadn't played then." So he said, "Would you guys want to play on the Midnight Jamboree? Sing on the Midnight Jamboree tonight?" We're like, "What's that?" He said, "Well, it's at midnight, and it's a jamboree." So we're like, "I don't know. We're here with our there are no other sisters, my cousins, and they're at a songwriter seminar, and I don't know what they're doing, what they have planned. We're just kind of here being, mooches. So when we met up with Susie and Patty, they said, hey, we heard where there's a bluegrass band called BR549, kind of a rockabilly bluegrass type band, gonna debut at Robert's Western World tonight. You guys want to go? And we're like, we got asked to sing on the Midnight Jamboree, but let's go to Robert's. That sounds like it'd be a lot of fun. So we went to Robert's Western World. It was packed in there. The guy working the door would only let so many in, so many out because of the fire code. And we're like, when 5 come out, can 5 go in? So we got to go in. There was no place to sit. So we're just up on the dance floor, dancing and singing every song with this BR549. And it was their album release party. And this couple they were like, how do you know these songs? They haven't even been released yet. And we're like, well, they're old bluegrass songs. We're,
Wow.
old bluegrassers. And so we got to become friends with them, Richard and Sandra, and they were like, oh, heavy Tennessee accent. And they're like, oh, you all should play down here. You need to be a group. So we're like, we're just down here for songwriters. And so we conversed with them, for a while, and they tried to get us to come up with a name and get a band. And we're like, well, Debbie and Melissa are playing in a country band now, but we used to play bluegrass years ago. So Richard and Sandra they were thinking of a name for us, and they're like, how about, you're all kin, right? Kin means relation. You're all kin. They're like, how about Kinsation? And we're like, well, no. And then we just kept saying, they would say, who are you guys? And we're like, well, they're 4 sisters, and this is our cousin. Or we're 4 sisters, and this is our... So that's how our name came.
Yeah.
4 sisters and a cousin.
Wow.
Because we are.
Right.
So... And then, oh my gosh, from there, we, the 4 sisters and a cousin played for the Country Music Association's Christmas party, which was a big deal.
Yeah.
We played for the association's party. It wasn't like a big, oh, here we are, 4 sisters and a cousin. It was just Christmas party. It was fun. It was a fun deal. And then, we started, oh gosh, I don't remember how we started thinking, well, maybe we'll just try this video from Bluegrass Related. And then my cousins were in a band. They were called Straight Up. They had, country band. Debbie's husband, John, played guitar, and his brother and his it's just family.
Yeah.
Everybody's family played music. So, from 4 sisters and a cousin, that was quite a run we had there. We made 4 CDs. Where did I put them? Oh my goodness! 4 CDs. This one was 1997. This was recorded locally, not Blandon, Aaronsville with Mike Mason Sound. This one, we had local musicians, and this one was 1998. And this one also had the Duhwitts on the back of that one. They did a song. They did White Lightning.
The Duhwitts was you guys.
Yeah, the Duhwitts.
Okay.
That was our
Other band.
alter ego. Is that what you call it?
Yeah.
That was the Duhwitts.
Okay.
And
What was the style of music, Duhwitts?
the Duhwitts, we did like White Lightning.
Okay.
White Lightning. Yeah, but just hokey, fun, goofy songs that, as we were dressed up in our goofiness, we just transformed into someone else. And we picked goofy songs to go along with our goofiness, you know. Oh, man. But then we wanted to make an album CD in Nashville, and we hired studio musicians, which wah wah wah. That was really fun.
What is hiring studio?
Studio musicians are musicians that are just hired to, well, they're amazing for one. Amazing musicians who also perform and play with major stars, acts, and then as a side job, they're a studio musician, so they come in and they read music and they read numbers and charts, and they come in and they hear the song or they chart it out, and then it's slick. It is.
So they provide the background instrumental.
Provide the background.
Okay.
So when we were going to record, we met a great guy in Nashville, Mr. Paul Lovelace, and he was our producer, and he said, yeah, and he knows people, you know, and that's what it takes. You have to know somebody to get in, and he had the in, so he said, I have a friend, Charles Cochran, and he plays, I believe that was his name, I'm so bad. He plays the piano, and he played for Crystal Gale. He was one that made Don't It Make Your Brown Eyes Blue, did a, you know, piano run. He was famous for it. Loretta Lynn's sister, Crystal Gale. I'm sure you knew that, Rajiv. So we went to his house, and we got to meet the engineer for this CD that we were going to make, and he wanted to, before we went into the studio, he wanted to just hear us do our thing, so he would know how to set everything up and get it all in the studio, get it all set, because normally in a recording studio you have the drummer in a totally different room, and they're, you know, where they can see people, but in the headsets, and they're in their drumming, and every guitar player, bass, whatever, they're all in these different rooms. Well, when us girls sing together, and when we started this Four Sisters and a Cousin, Patty said she was and still is amazing at her business knowledge and foresight of, okay, we're four sisters and a cousin. We're not going to be, one of the sisters is the main singer. Every one of us have to sing a lead song, and we're going to have 5-part harmony. So we were like, okay, I just like singing harmony. Susie just likes singing harmony. Melissa was learning harmony, but thank God Patty said, nope, we're not going to be just one lead singer. So whoever's singing the lead, we all had to stand a certain way, because I would always sing the highest part there was, and Debbie and Susie would always be singing the bottom end. Well, I couldn't stand next to Susie because I'm not singing. It just wouldn't work. Oh my goodness. I had to stand next. Okay, so here's the lead singer, and then whoever's singing harmony to that lead singer would be basically Patty, and then I would be singing harmony to Patty. So now we go back to the lead singer, and then lead singer, you sing the low, and then the bass, the lowest part. So we all had to stand in certain positions. So when we're at Charles's house and he's got this big grand piano, and we're like, okay, we need to show them how we sound so the engineer can figure out where he's going to put us in the sound studio. So we're just being ourselves, and it was like, oh, where you stand? Okay, so he knew that we all had to hear each other and feed off each other's vocal. So he was like, I'm going to put you guys in the studio. And he said, you're going to be singing. Like, there was microphones. We were all facing each other in the round. And we had headphones, and we had little knobs where I could hear the low, but it wasn't prominent in my ear as much as Patty, because I sang with her on certain songs, and then you have to dial it in. But that's how he recorded us, with us singing, basically feeding off each other, how we've always sang. So in the studio musicians CD, we would do what they call just a run through. It wasn't a final track. And the musicians, he'd be recording them musicians, and if the musicians felt comfortable with everything, then we did this, I think in 2 days. There was, I don't know, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 songs on there. We first day we came in, studio musicians, they got their tracks down with us singing, but they're scratch tracks. So
what's a scratch track?
A scratch track is just kind of like what I did earlier, and I'm like, scratch that, Rajiv, because I don't want to hear trash. I mean, it wasn't going to be the recording. It was just scratched. And he had so many different tracks that he could put us in there and then take us out. So we went in the next day, and it was kind of like singing karaoke, but we had actually sang with the band. But now we're just really going to concentrate on when we're breathing, and we've sang so much together that it's just kind of like, it's just like breathing when we're singing. It comes real natural, but we're more aware of, okay, this is it. We're going to be on, and I'm going to try to be on my high note and not sound sharp or flat, and just be more in tune with what we're doing. So we came in the next day, and we did all of our vocal tracks, and we did it so we have 4 CDs, and then we have a Christmas CD, which is the 4th one. And on that one, we did the same thing. I think we had the same musicians come in, and oh my gosh, they were amazing musicians. Amazing. That play with famous people. We had Vince Gill's drummer. I can't remember anybody's names. I know his name was Billy, but amazing musicians. So we did the same thing with the Christmas CD. All sang together, same engineer, same place. And my cousin Melissa, we were doing a Christmas CD, and she was pregnant with, I think it was Mariah, Melissa's oldest. I think Vanessa might have been 2 or 3. She was in the studio with us, down by Melissa's feet, coloring as we're singing. And we're like, the engineer was like, we might want her to leave. And Melissa's like, no, she's fine. She'll be all right. She'll be quiet. And she was. Yeah. So, oh my gosh, it was just the best time. Oh, so 4 sisters and a cousin did, we got quite a few bookings, and we played nationwide. Oh my gosh, we played Canada, We played at the, what is that, Cheyenne, Wyoming Rodeo. We played farm shows. Those were Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So we'd have a travel day to get there on Monday, travel day on home on Friday. Sometimes on our way to our farm progress shows that we played for Morton Buildings, Patty was such a great booking agent. She would book us like Monday night somewhere on the way to our show in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Yeah.
And then on the way home, sometimes we would just deadhead and go home. Or sometimes we'd pick up another job and the kids traveled with us. Patty got a camper and my mom would travel, my Aunt Mary, and sometimes a couple little dogs. And I think there was 11 of us in the camper one time. Traveled in the camper, but we got hotels when we got to our final destination. The camper was just a place to all hang out together.
Yeah.
Didn't start out in a camper. We had 2 vans and a pull behind with the equipment in it. But we, 4 sisters and a cousin, made a promo pack, which was a fun little deal. Oh my gosh. And you open it up and it has well, them VHSs in there. Oh my gosh. I don't know if we could maybe play that.
Won't you give me just one more chance? Maybe we can make a little romance. No reason why you and me can't get it back together like it used to be. Give me just a little.
For over 25 years, 4 sisters and a cousin have been sharing their family's special gift of music and laughter with audiences all over the country. Their unique style, family harmony, and zany sense of humor have given them the opportunity to open for an array of famous artists, such as the legendary Dottie West, BR 549, gospel greats J.D. Sumner and the Stamps, and the 1995 Female Vocalist of the Year, Alison Krauss. Spotted in a Nashville club by a Country Music Association representative, the group's harmony and showbiz style landed them the opportunity to perform for the Country Music Association's 1996 Christmas party. Through this connection, 4 sisters and a cousin were thrilled to participate in Fanfare 1997 in Nashville. This international event with a sellout crowd of 24,000 fans is hosted by the Grand Ole Opry and the Country Music Association. While in Nashville, they performed at the ever-famous Tootsie's Orchid Lounge and Robert's Western World. Four sisters and a cousin, kindred spirits with strong family bonds, provide a wide variety of upbeat entertainment to please any audience and have a ball doing it.
We wonder why.
Well, we are 4 sisters and a cousin. And everybody always wants to know which one is the cousin.
My name is Carol, and I am the cousin. I'm so proud to be here. Right now, I'm proud to be anywhere.
Whether singing oldies, gospel, pop, or country, Four Sisters and a Cousin puts on a high-energy stage show you won't forget. All are lead singers with exceptional vocal harmonies and lively choreographed moves. They have a rare, gifted ability to draw the audience into the fun. Whether you're looking for a sophisticated program for a black tie or corporate event, a sassy act for a casino or nightclub, or perhaps just a good dose of slapstick comedy for a family-geared theme park or county fair, variety is their forte. But there is another side to these attractive ladies with exquisite voices, the off-the-wall comedic characters they transform into, which have to be seen to be believed, the Duhwitts.
White lightning.
The transition is pretty bizarre. Yeah, it is. Going from 4 sisters and a cousin to this.
Feel the pressure gonna steal my phone away. I feel lucky today.
Well, I might take a train, I might take a plane. If I have to walk, I'm gonna get there just the same.
And everywhere we go, we always hear this repeating phrase is, you know, I know somebody that looks just like you.
Just a little bit of soul now.
potato, mashed potato. I can do the twist, do the twist. Oh, now tell
The
me.
Duhwitts, 4 sisters and a cousin. Fresh, talented, outlandishly funny, and are as much fun in front of the audience as they are behind the scenes.
We just kind of let the music talk for us because our looks stand on their own. Whoa, for the longest time. Whoa, for the longest. If you said goodbye to me tonight, there was
A self-contained class act. Reliable, professional businesswomen with their own sound system and lights. 4 sisters and a cousin. The Duhwitts. Together or apart, they'll make your event an entertainment success.
Adios, amigos. Bye, bye, bye. Scratch fever. Bye, bye, Johnny. Goodbye, Johnny.
VHS, but it had
Sure.
our CD for the people that they want to book us. Well, it was before Facebook and internet and all that. So this was our promo packet. It had our business card up here. I think it's stuck. And then of course it had pictures of us and and then tons of pictures of us. It had a bio of, my goodness, what we liked and what a little bit about us. And I'll have Rajiv insert these, but oh my gosh, I gotta find the one here.
Can I say something without
Oh,
offending
go right
you?
ahead. It's your deal.
No. The 4 sisters and a cousin, can I just say, are really attractive women.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah.
We sure have changed. My hair was dark and short, but yes, we're very attractive women. We also did the alter ego, the Duhwitts were in the 4 sisters and a cousin. We put them into the show. They charged a little more because they stunk. We always said they stunk, but oh my goodness. We had some fun times. 4 sisters and a cousin. We played on the Grand Ole Opry twice. Wasn't the televised portion, but it was audio. The first time we played there, it was something like called the Superstar Spectacular, and we played. It was just the audio, but I remember we were backstage, and it was Superstar Spectacular. They were introducing new musicians. We were backstage watching Keith Urban for the first time play, and I'm sure like everyone else that saw him, we were, our mouths hit the floor. Amazing. I don't know if we have any bean footage. We played at the Dover, Delaware at the NASCAR race. Like I said, Patty, she had the foresight of, we need to A, B, C, D. We need to learn a snippet. Like when people say, well, if you're just talking, you just met someone. And she was like, okay, they want to hear you sing a song. Unlike a Sweet Adeline where the song would go on forever. Nothing wrong with Sweet Adelines. Their harmony is amazing. But we were at a hotel one time and we ran into some Sweet Adelines and we're like, oh, you're singers, so are we, and oh my gosh, sing something for us. Because everybody, if you just met someone, they're like, oh, you're singers, let's hear you sing something. So we were in the elevator and we were still in the elevator waiting for quite a while till that Sweet Adeline song was over. So Patty's like, we need to learn short little snippets of songs so when someone says, sing me something, we could be like, okay, so a big variety. We did a little bit of a Billy Joel song, and we did a gospel, a little short snippet of a gospel, um, maybe an original, or we just did little snippets. So that's how we would sometimes get booked. But she said, we need to learn the national anthem. You never know. We need to learn this in 5-part harmony. And we did that going down the road in a van. I remember we were in Pennsylvania, and it was Debbie's husband John's birthday, August the 9th. He's driving the van, and oh, say, can you? He heard that probably 50,000 times, and us learning national anthem in 5-part harmony. But we did it, and it landed us singing at the Dover, Delaware Nascar. And we're inside the track. We had no clue who any of these drivers were, but we're inside the track. And the man doing the video filming for a TV, he heard us and he said, how long is your song? We're like, we have never timed it. And he said, I'm going to try to get that televised. If we can get it under. So we're like, okay. So we didn't know we were going to be on TV because
National TV.
Yeah. And our cousins, they were in Florida, and they had the NASCAR on, getting ready to watch it. And they were like, oh my God, it's our cousins on TV singing the national anthem. So after we didn't even have time to say, oh my God, we're going to be on the national TV. The cameraman was like, I think I can get it within this time spot. So we did it. So we sang on national TV at the Dover, Delaware NASCAR. That was really cool. Then we sang it on the inside of the track, and then we got to, of course, walk the track over to the stands, and oh my gosh, the track was on such a slant. I just remember, and then the guy who was walking us from place to place, he said, okay, now once we're off the track, he said, you've got to stand here when the cars go around the track, just so you can feel, and I'm so glad he had us do that, because I still remember that feeling of, it's like when you're at a concert and it's the bass and the drums are just vibrating in your body. It was just like, here come these cars. It was just like, so that was a really cool thing. I don't know, boy. Like I say, it was before Facebook and all that. Yeah, it just...
That gained you a lot of, national publicity, you think?
Not really. We didn't go into it trying to, become a star.
Right.
We made the CDs and everything just to sell merchandise to make money while we're on the road.
Okay.
And we had a chance to be one of the Gaither gospel singers, but we were like, that's not really us. We're not solely a gospel show. We're a variety. Four Sisters and a Cousin was a variety band. We weren't Bluegrass. We did a variety, but it's so weird that we did this, the Duhwitts, and talking, my aunt and uncle in Missouri, Bagnell Dam, Missouri. They back late middle 60s. I don't know. I was a little kid. They had country music hall. They had this country show where charged people admission. The admission, it was crazy. It was like $3 or something to get in, like Mom and Dad's festival. It just didn't cost anything. But they had this revolving stage that would turn ever so slowly during the performance. And my Aunt Ruthie, my Uncle Tony, Ruthie's husband Bob, performed with other musicians at this country music hall. And I look back at pictures and I'm like, and I'll have you interject that too. They dressed up as hillbilly, goofy, and did shticks like that too, normal. And we're like, I didn't even realize they did that till I started looking for pictures, because I was like, well, my aunt and uncle kind of get prepared a little for this, find some pictures of people, and I was like, oh my gosh, they dressed up like what we did. So it's like a family tradition that
like being silly and
yes,
and just
and then
entertaining.
She sent me some other pictures, and she said, oh, that's when we dressed up like Guitarzan. And I was like, I didn't even know you guys did Guitarzan in your performance at Missouri. Our kids, Emily and Gabe, my kids, Susie's boy, Casey, Christopher, Debbie's daughter, and they all dressed up in these costumes, and they lip sang to Guitarzan. We were snowed in one time we were iced in at Debbie's in Timewell. And us parents are just like, hey, that's great. We're snowed in. We got food. We got each other. And the kids were upstairs just having a ball. And they were like, they were upstairs yelling down at us, we're going to put on a show. You guys have to come and watch us. So we're like, okay, let us know when you're ready. They did Guitarzan, and we're like, oh my God. So Versailles, Illinois had a talent contest or lip sync contest, I think it was. So we're like, oh my gosh, you guys should dress up like the Guitarzan, and do that. And they did, and they won.
Wow.
And then four sisters and a cousin performed for different corporate events, and sometimes the kids would come with us and they would perform their Guitarzan deal. It's just.
And you guys, Four Sisters, lasted for 8+ years on the road.
Oh, I don't remember how long we were together. Everybody always has to. When did we do this? Let's see. Okay, well, the kids were how old? Let's see. Vanessa was 2, so we would always gauge on when we did something by the age of the kids. Well, I don't know. We did that for a few years.
And why, going back to Patty, when she kind of defined how we're going to play music, why do you think she did what she did?
Because she's a businesswoman, and she knew how we would get more bookings, and we could be booked as a variety. It could get us to different places, and she just.
Even the part where you said I guess the earlier point you made was that she said everybody should
sing
the same, or sing, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Sing lead. Everybody should sing lead, like that was.
Yeah, at certain, nobody should just be the main lead singer and then everybody just sing harmony. Everybody needed to shine.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So that's where that came from.
Yeah.
So there's no conflict. There's no like, hey, you get more airtime or attention than me.
Or just it made it very entertaining, because it's like, oh, now they're singing a song, and I was really out of my comfort zone, because I can't remember words. My dad couldn't either. I think I get that from him, but I can't remember words. And I know a lot of choruses because that's all I sang in Bluegrass mainly, was just the chorus. We made Debbie sing the lead. When we were little kids, she even had strep throat one time, and I was like, I'm not singing the lead. We made her sing when she had strep throat. Bad. Made her sing when she had a bloody leg. Me and hers racing at Mom and Dad's. We're just kids. We're just like, I bet I could beat you to the camper. No, I'm going to pay. So we had to be on stage. It wasn't, it was real soon. And we're like, all right, 1, 2, 3, go. And we're just flat out running to the camper, seeing who could beat each other. And we get to the camper and the grass is slick and Debbie slides in and the step down to the camper. She scraped her leg.
Oh, man.
I mean, poor girl needed stitches. We're like, that's all right. Just wipe it up. You got to sing now. I mean, we made that poor girl sing when she was bleeding, when she had strep throat. But I tell you what, she has a hell of a voice. She still does. Man. And I really, hats off to Patty, because she had, like I say, had the foresight to let's everybody sing lead and not have just, this is the lead singer.
Yeah.
And you're...
I gotta take a quick leak break.
Yes.
And you can... Okay, so you were talking about the Four Sisters before we took a break, I guess.
Yeah. I just... that was, like I say, the most... that was where I gained most of the weight. Went to these buffets all the time, but
Yeah.
that was just fun. I mean, like I say, hanging out with my family, and people would always ask which ones, are you really 4 sisters and a cousin? Which one's the cousin, and do you fight? And we don't fight. We love each other to this day, and we just can't wait till we get together. And we're trying to plan a vacation now so we can just get together. Because one of the cousins lives in Nashville, Hendersonville. One lives in Florida, and the other 2 in Mount Sterling, which is an hour and a half away from me. So we don't get together a lot. And when we do, it's just fun. We laugh. We finish each other's sentences, and like I say, I was really out of my comfort zone to sit here and just me talk, because not that I've had any trouble talking. Raji hasn't got a word in edgewise. I'm sitting over there. I saw you.
Are you kidding? I am just hypnotized. I just keep going.
But we finish each other's sentences. We have so many catchphrases, and it's so much fun. But I wanted to, before we get this all wrapped up here, I'm talking about myself. So I wanted to also say that I'm currently playing as a duo with my friend Jera, and we do, Jera hosts an open mic at Buddy's Pizza in Galesburg on Tuesday nights, and Jera and I play together wineries and fairs, festivals, bars, wherever we can get jobs. We love playing. Jera is an amazing musician. She's been playing the guitar, and a friend of hers is doing a podcast on her as well. So it would be great to get together sometime with Jera and have us do a song or something.
Oh, absolutely.
If we copyrighted or the ASCAP. Got to watch out for that. But from playing with Jera, I have played with Jera in a trio with Greg Persifield called the Crescent City Tap Trio. And we played in Galva at the Crescent City. That's how we got the name. And then along with Jera, I play with, we haven't played for quite a while, but we had a trio. It was called Trulson. Jera's maiden name was Scott, and we played with William Hope, and we were called TrulsonScottHope. So that's kind of a play on words like Trulson, Scott, Hope. But if you say it fast enough, it sounds like TrulsonScottHope, like I've got hope. I don't know. Whatever. But and then from playing with William Hope, I, in a little bluegrass band with him, we're called the Taproot Wranglers. And that is William Hope and his wife, Tina. Jim Lindbergh plays the dobro. I play piano and mandolin. And then a friend of ours, CJ Spring, plays the bass, the stand-up bass. And then also from that, we have a little, it's a big jam session, a bluegrass jammers. My friend Laura has gotten that all together. We used to be at Fat Fish, and it was anyone who wanted to come and jam. And now we've moved to Harley's, and we have on Sunday evenings sometimes, just 5:30 or 6, we just have bluegrass jammers. And that is so much fun. I learn a lot there playing the mandolin because, like I said, I just play by ear, and I feel like I learn a lot there just in a jam session. Like I say, and you have to listen to what other people are doing and not, come in loud and be a showboat. You want to just intertwine with the groove. And I don't know. I think that's about all my notes here, unless I got this one. What's this? Oh, Carol was the most famous cousin of them all. No, that's right. No, like I say, music's in my family. My uncle Tony, I'll have you put a link to. He is a amazing musician. He's a storyteller. His son said, "Dad, you need to have a YouTube channel, and you tell some stories about your past, and you intertwine it with some songs." So he has done that. So you have to go check out my Uncle Tony. My son Gabe has some songs on YouTube. Gabe and I have performed together at the Orpheum Theater when they had their fundraising follies. We were honored to be asked to play there to help raise money for the historical Orpheum Theater in Galesburg. You've been there, Raji, but it's amazing. It's Jera and I have played there as well, raising money. But now I completely forgot this happens. Completely forgot where I was going with that story. Amazing people playing. I don't know, Raji. What was you going to ask me? Ask me something.
It never
spaced out here.
It never felt like you were working ever.
No.
It was always fun.
Always fun. I always say what is work is setting everything up and tearing everything down.
Okay. That's
and I'm like, I always say, from playing this stand-up bass and dragging it around to festivals, and then now I'm like, I got 2 keyboards. I always say, why didn't I learn to play the harmonica? Just, you put that in your pocket and here you are. But all this stuff, of course, my grandma called the harmonica a French harp, but I wish I'd just learned to play that, and then I wouldn't have to drag all this around. So, roadie for hire. And then there's that silence. Is she done yet?
It's great.
Is she done yet? Can I talk about my accordion?
Of course. You can talk about whatever you want.
All right. Let's talk about the accordion. Well, the accordion has keys on it, like the piano. So, my mom and I were driving in Galesburg, and I was driving, and of course, I love to go to thrift stores, and I love to go to tag sales, yard sales, and we're driving in Galesburg, Mom and I, and I drive by it was called the Cottage Corner back then, and drive by my favorite thrift store, and I'm like driving, looking, thinking, oh my God, there's an accordion in the window. So I was like, thinking somebody's gonna get it before I do. Well, I went into this thrift store, secondhand store, and I'm like, oh, you have accordion in the window. Can I see it? Well, I didn't know anything about it, and I still really don't. I just goof around. Oh, hey, look at that. I didn't know that. Clip that there. So when I got the accordion, I was like, well, I know it goes, this hand plays this because that's like the piano. But then they have these things here. And I pulled the bellow out, and it went something like this. And I thought, oh, and I pushed it in, it goes, well, there was a little wheel here, and I thought, well, maybe that's the tuner. Maybe it's out of tune. Well, it was the strap adjustment. That shows you how much I know. And then I'm like, I was making this god-awful noise. And the ladies at the thrift store, they're like, well, I think maybe one of the keys are stuck. And I was like, oh, okay. She said, Ned Flesher, he has Flesher House of Music here. He in town. He could maybe help you with that. So I was like, okay. So I paid $50 for this. Well, my mom bought it for me. She paid $50 for this accordion. And so I took it into Ned Flesher, and he's like, oh yeah, you got a button stuck. So he took it apart and unstuck the button. And I was like, okay, how do you play an accordion? And he was like, well, here on your left hand, there's like a divot. And he said, that's where you put your middle finger. So and if you don't pull it out and push it in, you're not going to get a sound. So if you have to. So he's like, okay, here, this is middle C. I'm like, thank you, Jesus, that's the key I play in, because I play by ear. And so he said, just do the oompa oompa. So I was like, he did that, and I was like, anyway. Then I took it home. Bless Mom's heart for buying me this accordion. This is not the original one. But Haley, my daughter, my youngest daughter, was in one of them little pumpkin seats. She was probably maybe 3 months old. I learned to play the accordion while Haley was in the pumpkin seat, and she had to listen to her mother. I remember one time I was like, Gail was in the basement working on some type of a project. He's down there, and I'm like, Gail, listen to this. I think I got it. And he was like, oh my God, keep working. Poor Haley. She had to suffer through it. But I just wanted to let you know that that's how the accordion works. I didn't know.
So could you explain that a little more to a layperson? Like, what is I know you said it's the note C. Mm-hmm. And so you have to have it pressed down while you're bellowing? Yeah. Okay. And
Petticoat Junction. Petticoat Junction. Anyway.
What's that?
It's a song from an old TV show. It's pretty annoying instrument. It's loud. I bought it because I thought.
This is loud, you're saying?
Yeah, this is loud. I bought my first accordion when my mom bought it for me because I thought, oh, how hokey is that? That would be great for a nerd, for a telegram or something, And then I was like, and of course, Haley now is 30 years old. You'd think I would learn how to play this from 30 years ago, but like I say, I fiddle-fart around with an instrument, and then I was like, that's enough. I'll go to something else.
By the way, for folks who don't know what a thrift store is, maybe
Yes.
somebody's in India watching, I guess,
Yeah.
maybe. It's a very popular phenomenon I guess all over the USA, right? Would you say?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And it's like she was saying, secondhand store, and you can get really good bargains and good deals, and people that have either donated it or sold. I don't know if they're selling it, but they're just donating it, right?
A lot of them donate it. A lot of the some of the thrift stores, they have consignment where you will get money for them selling your stuff. Not much, but a little
Okay.
something. But
Okay.
I also have to give a shout out to my girlfriend, Linda Rambo, who Hankins, who I went to school with. She gave me this. It was her mom's accordion, and I was thrilled to death. The one that my mom bought me was a little bigger and heavy. And I mean, oh my goodness, I have pictures. I borrowed one time. That thing was huge, huge. But I just wanted to give a shout out to Linda and thank you for giving me this accordion. I treasure it. It came with a case and everything, and I love it. Not too many other people love it because it's accordion. Get a banjo and an accordion together.
Why? Why don't people like it?
Banjos and accordions always get the brunt of the the brunt of the.
Because why?
Oh, they just sound annoying sometimes.
Really?
Banjo.
Oh.
And an accordion is like what you heard, but some people love it.
Yeah,
Some people
it's
don't.
really entertaining.
Sometimes you feel like a nut. Sometimes you don't. But oh gosh, this one I don't have. Well, like I said, I don't have anything mastered, but this is a tricky one. Oh my goodness! I thought I had one. Yeah, that's about all I got of that. Joy to the world.
Where'd you get that?
Emily gave it to me for Christmas or birthday or something. I don't know. It's tricky. I play a lot of different things, but like I say, none really worth a darn. This one you have to blow into to play. And one time I was playing this at open mic at Buddy's. Boy, I was into it. Whatever, playing it. I jumped down off the stage. People were dancing, and I jumped out in the crowd. We're playing with it, and I thought, God, somebody's spitting and sweaty or something. Well, I didn't know it was me. There was a hole in the tube. I was just a blowing. I was like, God, who?
It was you all along.
It was me. Yeah, I don't play that one very often. Especially with the COVID. So, okay. This, oh my goodness. I bought this secondhand. Everything secondhand. This is a mandolin. And it has same tuning as a violin. Has 8 strings. And this is the one that I don't have a clue. I've had so many amazing musicians play with us that I'm just learning some chords and trying to do lead. But at the Bluegrass Jam session, it's just so much fun. Sometimes I had a friend of mine tell me, Paul Hamilton, who had an Opry, another one of them Opries in Abingdon, and he said, oh, just shut your eyes and play. I remember him saying that, and I'm like, so many times I'll just think, and then I can't play it without making faces. But this is a fun one. It's really fun. I try my best, but
Did that help when you close your eyes?
yeah, it really did. I don't know how my fingers know to go there. I suppose if I would take lessons, but then I'm afraid because somebody might find out.
It's a cool little tip.
Melody. Whatever. Oh, this is one of my fun ones. Tell me about this, Rajiv.
The cheapest, most badly made. Thanks, Carol.
I love it. I
Makes
love
me
it.
feel better.
Oh, I love it. It's fun. You know, so yeah, got a bunch of rattle-tat-tats here.
Yeah.
Okay. This one is made by a friend of mine. He is an amazing musician, Tim Wallis. He made this. It's a 3-string lap steel, as my aunt would call it, maybe a Hawaiian guitar. I don't know. It's a 3-string lap steel. Oh, Tim. Oh, Tim. I wish I knew how to play it. He built this.
Wow.
He named it Leann, after his wife, Carla Leann. He had a contest on Facebook one time, and he said, I built this guitar, 3-string lap steel, and I'm gonna give it away." And it was a numbers game we were playing, and when I seen that on Facebook, I thought, I'm gonna win that. I am gonna win that. And then Carla said later, she said to Tim, she said, "Wouldn't that be great if Carol Trulson won this?" Well, by God, I was on that night. We're gonna play the game. You had to pick a number between this, and then the number, if you get right on it, well, you're the winner. The closest number to that, you're the winner. Well, but you had to do it within a certain amount of time. At 9 o'clock, game's over. So I picked my number, and then, you know, you could see everybody's numbers on Facebook. And then when I got my number, and my number was the closest one, and then here comes some guy. He got in late. He put his number in, and I think his number, it either matched or it was closer than mine. And I'm like, oh, I was so close.
Yeah.
And then Carla's like, "No, wait a minute. He got his number in after the, 9 o'clock." So we said, so the winner is Carol Trulson. Oh, I'm so excited. So Tim, he is an amazing, he builds instruments. He has invented. Tim Wallis, you'll have to Google him up and look on Guitar Pickle.
Does he sell his instruments?
Yeah.
Okay.
B-benders and D-benders. Oh boy, he's a good one. I love him. First time I seen him, we were here in Peoria, we were at a pizza place, and it was an open mic, and you had to sign up. So I was with my cousins, of course, and my cousin's daughter who has lived here and moved here, and we're like, okay, well, let's sign up, on the sign up sheet. So we're eating pizza and waiting, it was a new place. So we're like, oh boy, what are we going to sing? What are we going to do? We don't know. We were signed up. So all of a sudden, here comes Tim and Carla in, and everybody's like, "Hey, Tim, how you doing?" And I thought, they're like, "You going to get up and play?" And he's like, "Yeah." So, by God, he got up and played before, he didn't even sign up. Didn't even sign up. And he got up and played it before we did. And I was like, so he was getting his guitar out, and I had never seen such a guitar with a whammy bar and contraptions on it. And I thought, my God, he didn't even sign up, and he's playing before us, and we live out of town. And he started playing music, and I went right over to his wife, Carla, and I was like, oh my God, who is this, and where are you guys from? And I'm in love. So that's how I met Tim. So when I won this, I was like, oh, I'm so excited. He named it Leann after Carla, and then I added my kids' middle name. Emily's is Louise, Haley's is Faye, after my grandma Faye, and Gabriel's is Arthur. So I named this Lou Art Faye Ludine. So well, they call me the breeze. I keep rolling down the road. Well, they call me the breeze. I keep rolling down the road. That's about all I've done on it. But I tell you what.
That's awesome.
Emily, my daughter, she can play this like you wouldn't believe.
Really?
Only she plays it with the other bar. He, of course, like I said, like he's an inventor. He made this contraption here. I'm going to put it this way. I didn't even know how to actually put it on. I think this is right. I don't know. But anyway, Emily, she has another slide bar, but she plays it like the guitar, and she plays it this way. She played one time at my house. We turned on one of those YouTube where you can play along with blues in the key of G or something. We played for 6 hours. I think I have video footage of that.
Wow.
Video footage of everything. But anyway, that's some of my stuff that I like to just goof around with, and
you're constantly learning. You're just like never done.
Yeah, with Jera, I'm constantly learning. I also play with Brian Glasgow and Jera. Sometimes we do a trio, and man, they're amazing. We did a party not too long ago, and we're like, hey, you guys got any requests? And for like an hour, they were doing songs I had never even heard, but I'm not saying, oh, yes, I just played right in, I filled right in, and I just turned my volume down. Also, when in doubt, bow out. So you just kind of turn it down, and you just listen. You listen, and like you say, you try to learn.
But when you bow out, it kind of will show, right?
Oh, heck no, I can bow out and play along Millie with the rest of them. But, I don't want to give away all my secrets.
Okay.
But,
okay.
My piano here has a capo.
What's a capo?
Well, a capo is what you put on a guitar.
Okay.
There's no capo for a piano, but
Okay.
it has a transpose button. And the transpose button, like this is the key of C. If you're going to play a song in the key of B, well, that's the black keys. And I'm like, ooh. So I can transpose, and then, well, this is B flat. I'm still in C position on my fingers. But I'm in the key of C. But I've transposed, or I call it my capo. My piano has a capo. So I'll
It's
just
that
see
thing
what,
that holds the strings
yes,
tight.
that's
Yeah.
the capo for a guitar. I have one for the mandolin too, because I don't know play it correctly with B flat and all them. And I play and do what I can do, and I just have fun.
Yeah.
I have so much fun with it. Like I say, the part of what I get paid for is setting up and tearing down, and all musicians say the same thing. Yeah, this is what I get paid for. Setting up, tearing down, and driving.
Otherwise, it's all just flow state
just
fun.
Set it up, and it's a ball. So, hats off to my mom and dad for making me go to Bluegrass Festival back in the day when I did not want to go, but it gave me a love of music that I've hopefully can generations go on down through my family too, because like I said, Emily plays, Gabe, Haley, but their careers now have them pretty busy. But anytime I can, I'm like, oh man, could you just get out your guitar, Gabe, and Emily, get that auto harp out. And we did a little Sunday gospel hour one day here in the kitchen. We found this old gospel book, and she was like, oh, let's just play this. We played, and I videotaped that. She probably wouldn't want me to Well, I think I did post that on Facebook. But anyway, well,
You just did that for fun. Just play
just
music.
for fun.
Yeah.
yeah, it is all for fun. And then when you get paid for it, that's like the icing on the cake.
Right.
So I'm just, go ahead. I'm going to ask me about something a while ago. And I was like, yeah.
Which you I think a lot of it you answered for sure. One thing I always wanted the world to know this is that you're one of those people who, pretty easygoing person. You rarely get triggered, as I've known you for so long. And how do you do that? Like, what is the secret to it?
I don't know. My dad was a jokester. My mom was a saint. She was an angel. She was very quiet,
Yeah.
I look like my mom, but I have my dad's personality. And he was very outgoing, fun, life of the party. It's just fun to be happy. I've been down and dark and depressed, and that's no place to be. And when you get that way, if you just put music or play music and can help someone, like during the pandemic, I was like, oh man, we're not playing anywhere, so I just turned music on, and then I thought, oh, videotape myself, so I started doing little stupid stuff just basically to entertain myself. And then I was like, of course, with me doing singing telegrams and just being silly, I just thought, well, I'll just put that on, and people were like, were you drunk when you did that? Were you high? Were you, I'm like, no, it was just me. It was just me. So like I say, music is my drug. It just, I love to dance. I love to, I love to entertain, even if it's just myself. But I just, that's just kind of the way I am.
Yeah. And you choose to do so. It's like you said, like you could choose to, you like to be happy. That's a good feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Nobody likes a sour push. Right?
Yes.
Nobody likes to get sour.
Well, it's been an absolute honor. If
God,
we wanna...
I've rambled on quite enough, huh, Roger? You've cut me off. Hey, we didn't even talk.
Oh, we can edit this out. We'll keep going. I thought we wanted to land the plane or something like that.
Yes, I do. I'm ready to land the plane. But people have asked me, do you write music? Do you write songs? And I do. I've written songs the singing telegrams were,
original.
And it's so funny because the way I did singing telegrams, when I get the phone call, I'd be like, okay, write the person's name, and then I'd tell me something about them. How old are they going to be? Or, do they have nicknames? So I'd start jotting these down in a circle and just, I don't know. I just did that. And then when my cousins were coming back from that songwriter seminar, they're like, here's our notes on how to format to write a song. And they had written things out like what I had done, and I didn't even know. I don't know. I'm not saying that. Well, yes, I know how to. I don't know. I just jot things down, and I got to see my chicken scratches down there on my notes. I was like, but I was asked to write a song for a funeral. No. Take that back. My aunt passed away, and when us girls, any of our family members pass away, we usually sing at their funeral. Mm-hmm. Sing at my grandpa's funeral, my uncle's funeral, and when my aunt passed away, I thought it was the sister's mom, and I thought there's no way they could sing, and I thought, and I just love my Aunt Mary. I love all my aunts and uncles. I love all my family, and I thought, I'm going to write a song for Aunt Mary's funeral. So wrote a song for that, and I do want to record that at some point, but I don't have the business mind of my cousin Patty, and things kind of go here and there, and then it's like, trying to let's do this, I'm like I say, a little fart in a skillet. So then Pastor Dan, we were going to the Orange Chapel Church, asked me if I would, first if I would sing at their Christmas program. So I thought, well, I'll just write a song. So I've written seasonal songs. I've written a Christmas song and a funeral song, but then he asked me if I would sing for Easter Sunday. And I was like, what am I going to do for that? So I wrote a song for Easter Sunday service. Oh my goodness. I played it on this keyboard. It has a little record button, and I knew I couldn't play it and sing it at the same time because I'm in church. I'm by myself. It's 6:30 in the morning. I don't know if I'm thinking at that. It was Sunday service, Easter Sunday service, sunrise. And I was like, so I thought, well, I'm just going to record it, and then I'll push that button and stand there at church and sing it. So I go to church the night before to get everything all set up on the altar, and I was like, okay. I went to practice, and I pushed the delete button after I had probably worked on this a good week trying to, I'd get to the end of the song, and then I'd like, last note, and I'd be like, I recorded again. So it took me forever. Here I am the night before Easter Sunday, and I'm like, I have to record that song again, and I have to do it
all over
now. I before sunrise. So I did it, and then I have been practicing, as Rajiv knows, what is 3 days, because I got it down, and I'm just going to sing a karaoke, and I was wanting to do some harmony with it. And then I pushed the erase button on this one, so it's been like 3 days I've been working on this, and it's nowhere near perfect like I am, but it is what it is, and it's an original song that I wrote for Easter Sunday, and we'll do that later on. But now I'll have to hook some different things up. We can stop here, but so. And I have another song for a special friend that I'm writing. And songwriters, you have to, I don't know, it's just so weird how a song will come to you. It will come to you in a time when you don't know it's going to come. So, and I want this song to be very special, so I'm really taking my time with this one, and it will come. It's coming. But that's about. And
you're such a perfectionist. How did you develop that kind of trait of just trying to be perfect? Perfect. Were you always like that?
Well, I know when it's right, and I know when it's wrong, and I don't want to hear it wrong.
Okay.
I know the first time I started singing with my dad, I was like, he was singing Little Georgia Rose, and I was like, I could sing the harmony to that, but I had never sang with him before. And I remember being at a Bluegrass festival, and he was singing, way down in the Blue Ridge Mountain, way down where the tall pine grows. And I thought, well, I'll just go stand by him and sing. And I remember the first time he heard me sing, and he was just like, took off right from there, and I knew what it was supposed to sound like. So, I mean, how could I sing something that's like, it's not quite there. That's our other band, not quite there. But I don't know. I'm just.
Yeah. And if you don't get it right, just keep doing it.
And just whatever, you know. And I'm at this point, I'm like, okay, getting close to my 70s. So I'm like, okay, you know what? It is what it is. Let's have fun with it. I label myself more of a singer than I am a musician. A singer and an entertainer. I know my friend Alice, Dawn's wife, Alice Wilson, she said, oh, you girls are just entertainers. And I was like, we are? It was just us being us. And I'm like, yeah, I guess we are more entertaining. You know, the clips that you're going to splice in here.
Yeah.
God, I look back at them and think, God, that was really funny. You know, we did stuff on stage that we didn't rehearse. We fed off each other's comedic timing. And there were times that I was on stage and I'm like, I've always laughed and, you know, wet my pants. But I'm on stage laughing at my cousins doing stuff that I didn't know they were going to do. And I'm like busting out laughing and thinking, I have to keep going. I just want to fall on the floor and laugh.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one thing about your family and hanging on. Everybody tries to make the other person laugh. And that's very, very, was sort of new to me when I first started hanging out with them. Everybody would try to get the next joke in so that they could top the previous joke. And it was like,
one-uppers.
How do you guys just keep
I know.
building off of each other and just funny? It's like so great. Like you said, it's great to be happy and laughing. And you guys like always thought on from that angle. Anything was just a joke. Let's just turn right in and hard left.
Yeah, turn left, turn. Oh my God, we're going that route. Well, and of course, my cousin Susie, when we were going to do these CDs, we were trying to think, okay, what are we going to sing? What are we going to put on these CDs? And we did. So she wrote a song, several songs. Susie's an excellent songwriter.
Really?
And so is her son, Christopher. He's singer-songwriter in Nashville. I'm going to put his information up on here as well so you can hear him. But Susie wrote a song, and we put it on our CD, and so many people at the farm shows would come up to us, and they're like, and we would say, we have that one recorded, and they're like, dude, where's the CD with that song, The Bath, on it? Oh my God, that's the best song, because it was such a relatable song.
With bath on
The
it?
Bath.
Okay. What's that?
It's a song Susie wrote about a mom taking a bath. And so many people could relate to it. And she sold a lot of CDs just because of that one song.
Really?
An original song.
I got to take a leak again. So sorry. We're rolling.
Oh, we're rolling. Okay.
We're rolling and yeah.
We're rocking and rolling. You know, talking about the different styles of the bass chord. That's how my grandma played. So that's what I heard when I was like around a piano. That's the type of music. Well, remember Gabe and Emily were really little. We had an upright piano in the basement, and I was trying to learn the left hand of doing other than just bass and chord, you know. So I was trying to do. And then play the right hand, and it was just like, well, Gabe and Emily were really little, and I remember them just dancing and boogieing to this.
Really?
Oh my gosh, yes. I wish I had a video of that, but I did this for probably, I don't know, hours, and then I put in the right hand. Frankie and Johnny, but that was like really hard, and I haven't played that for years. But I've been playing the bass with my left hand, which is it's just fun. Tommy Ronk, he was amazing at playing the piano. I don't believe he plays anymore, but I watched his left hand, and man, I don't even know how. I try, but it's not something I just watched him and I tried to do it, but I don't, you can cut this out, but I'm just like,
That's
oh
all right.
my God, I really wanted to, I can't even think of a song that would do, so it's just that more of a boogie woogie. So that's a boogie woogie.
It's just the style of,
That's a style.
yeah. And Gabe and Emily would just dance.
Oh, they'd dance for hours. So then then it went into. So, I'm just trying new things, and every once in a while I like to hit a bell.
What was that for?
Every time a bell rings, an angel gets his wings. And that's the audience clapping. I don't know. Just bells and whistles, everything.
And what's that little spoon instrument you just played?
Oh, it's spoons. It's for, rhythm. I got it at Cracker Barrel. So I'm sure there's other ones, but you can. Yeah, I've seen a guy play at Tim Wallis. We had a little jam session. Man, he was a young kid playing the spoons. I don't know. I just pick up stuff. Pick up stuff and collect. Collect like
big ears. Did you wear them earlier, or you never?
No,
wore them, right?
I tried to put them on, but
Okay.
I couldn't. Yeah. No, I just never know what I was gonna do, so I just brought a bunch of stuff.
Thank you for doing that. And,
Yeah.
and you have all these harmony pines.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm sure you'll put that on.
Yeah.
You could maybe take a picture of that.
Sure.
Probably won't do it justice on the. But yeah, Mom and Dad had jackets made of their festival. Yeah, Harmony Pines, Gilson, and 20th anniversary jackets. They've been up in storage, and they're all wrinkly and kind of mildewed and getting holes in them. But some people hang on to stuff. Just think, when I'm dead, you and Emily will have all this stuff.
Absolutely, it'd be an honor.
Oh my goodness, it happens.
What is the hometown thing that you have there?
Oh, that is. I don't. Oh, that's when we did our Christmas CD. We I don't know all the particulars, but it was sold in Hallmark Curlins for Hallmark.
Okay.
And we did like the Hallmark Christmas tour. It was back when the Sandburg Mall was even open, and they had Kirkland's. And
this is Galesburg?
Okay. And we also had, for our Christmas CD, we also had a CD with just the tracks on it, with no vocals, so we could play that, and then we could do our Christmas tour, and we would go into all the different Hallmark stores. And we did, we sold Christmas CDs. It was like, oh yeah, they're on sale here, and we would just sing like to our tracks. So, and our Christmas CD, we don't really call it our Christmas CD, we call it our ba-doo, ba-doo, doo, 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 ba-doo. We call it the doo-ba-doo song.
Okay.
CD, because we do White Christmas, but.
And that was promotional? You would get tips and stuff?
Yep, just well, we got paid for it.
Okay.
It was so funny. They're like, and none of us really need a microphone. Our voices are just loud and proud. And they'd be like, well, where are you girls? Where's your microphones? And we're just like, we're just singing, you know, it would just echo through these doors. I remember we sang at the Sandburg Mall, and boy, the mall police came right out. Now, you girls are supposed to be in Curlin's, and we had stepped out in the mall, you know, just out of the doorway, and he was like, you have to be back, you know, I got to keep the crowd control. There wasn't nobody out there. It was like maybe 2 people had stopped, you know. It was like, I got to keep this open for the people shopping. We're just like, okay. You know, give someone a badge and
yeah.
authority. But anyway, we had nothing but good times.
Yeah.
So that was our in the spotlight, our Christmas Curlin's.
That was the newspaper, the hometown something.
It was the Herald-Whig, the Quincy Herald-Whig. 4 sisters and a cousin. And it goes on about all the crap I just talked about. I want to talk about me. But yes, it's been a very pleasurable afternoon here, Rajiv. I'm sorry this went on so long.
You know, kidding?
But my gosh.
I'm open to just keep doing this as long as we want to. This has been an absolute treat.
Bored.
Who knows?
No, you're doing a fantastic job doing these podcasts. Hats off to you.
Thank you. It's very kind of you.
This is fantastic that you've started this and jumped on that bandwagon because you know, there's a lot of people doing this, but I tell you what, yours, it's very good.
Thank you very much. That's very encouraging words. I appreciate.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many people doing podcasts now.
Absolutely.
And
there's so much. I mean, you could do one tomorrow. I hope you set it up. In direct competition to mine. Yes, this has been an absolute pleasure hosting you this afternoon. Would you ever be open to having another one? Because I feel like we just kind of scratched the surface. We just so much we got into.
I think it would be great. I mean, I like I say, I'm sitting here by myself, which is not in my comfort zone.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have all my cousins here, or Jera.
Gosh,
or any of my other fellow musicians.
How about we do it with them next time or something?
I would love that.
Okay.
My kids.
Okay.
Gabe.
That would be so cool.
Rajiv plays the tabla.
No, that would be so awesome. Yes, that would be indeed awesome to do it again.
Indian percussion. Mm-hmm.
What?
And speaking of getting out of my comfort zone, so, you know, with my telegrams and everything, all goofy and everything, well, we're going to, you know, shut it down here pretty soon.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to play my original song. So that's
I was going to say
out of my comfort zone as well.
Yes, this is also, I mean, I'll be honest, like very much out of my comfort zone because you're such a amazing, accomplished artist, and I'm like, all these things are going over my head. I'm trying to interpret that as best as I can, and it's just nuggets of wisdom everywhere, and it's fun talking to you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. There's going to be a lot of editing in this too, a lot of splicing in.
That's great. That's my pleasure. It's a labor of love.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yep.
Thanks for tuning in.
Cheers. Thanks, everybody.
Mary cried, how could they do this? How could they turn their backs on him? She knew he was born to save our souls from sin. How could they doubt him? In their hearts his words were true. He is our Savior, he'll come back for you. How could they do it? They made a crown out of thorns. They spit on him, they mocked him, to his name they did scorn. They took his hands and feet and they nailed him to the cross. Jesus told his people, not all souls will be lost. As he hung there on the cross, up on Calvary, Jesus cried, my God, why have you forsaken me? Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they have done. Died on the cross, God's only Son. They laid him in a tomb and they sealed it with a stone. Roman soldiers stood guard, they wouldn't leave him there alone. And dark clouds did appear and the lightning struck the soldiers down. When the stone was rolled away, he was nowhere to be found. The third day came and his body wasn't there. They were looking all around, it was like he had vanished in the air. Falling to their knees and crying, Lord, what have they done? Who had moved Jesus, God's only Son? And there he was, right before our eyes. He is alive, he is alive, he is alive, he is alive. I am the truth, I am the light. He who believes in me will have eternal life. He is alive, he is alive, he is alive, he is alive. Now go in his spirit, let his light shine in thee. For he who believes in him, they will be set free. He lives in me, he lives in you. Praise to